need to call the meeting to order, please? Thank you very much. We'd like to have the actions taken in closed session. Trustee Prendergast, please.
There were two actions. Regarding claim 658559, on a 6-0 vote, the board took action in closed session to issue a notice of rejection of claim pursuant to Government Code Section 913. The governing board further authorizes the Vice Chancellor of Business Services or her designee to issue any appropriate notices. On a 6-0 vote, the board took action in closed session to deny a former employee's appeal of an administrative determination of sexual harassment and retaliation. No further actions.
Okay, thank you. We will now have the invocation led by Trustee Rydell and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Prendergast.
I'd like everyone to think about this past year. And when you think about it, I hope that you can make it better next year and that we always remember why we have the season and that we appreciate each other through that season and continue it on for good health and many blessings in the new year. Thank you.
Okay, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Unless there is opposition from the board, I'd like to move the following up to take place at this time. 3.13, public comments, and 6.1, resolution. Okay, so now we will have public comments. I'll ask three people to come up at once. Could we have Diego Garcia Taborga, Sierra Perrin, and Melody Turori?
My name is Melody Turori. I've been the radio instructor for Saddleback College since 2018. Radio is still an industry, perhaps the only industry, where having broadcast experience on your licensed college station counts as real experience in the job market. Public ownership of the electromagnetic spectrum, including radio, is the foundation of broadcast law. So it's disappointing we were not given notice, so our students and community had an appropriate opportunity to exercise that ownership tonight. I'll now share snippets of comments current and former radio students submitted to me in the last 6 hours, the full text of which is available here. From Jeff Holt, KSBR is more than a studio. It's a real-world training environment that prepares students for media, communications, and creative careers. I would have continued paying units simply to remain on air because of the value of live broadcasting extends far beyond a class requirement and represents one of the most practical learning opportunities Saddleback offers. From Dylan Ludin, KSBR HD2 is one of the best experiences I've had. I transferred to USC, and after my time working several different aspects of KSBR HD2, including OC and Focus and broadcasting Saddleback sports, I can see that the work we do on KSBR HD2 is a level or ahead of the curve in several aspects. It's a great way for students to learn, and it's a shame that this privilege may be stripped from them. From Adrian Alzamora, our class is currently preparing a holiday broadcast that we've been working on diligently for weeks. Family members, friends, and listeners are actively anticipating this program. This illustrates the real-time impact KSBR has in connecting students with audiences locally and globally. From Mark Spin, the hands-on experience I obtained doing live shows on KSBR HD2 enabled me to get hired as a full-time on-air personality at a commercial radio station. The loss of KSBR will force students seeking a career in radio to turn to a high-cost private broadcasting school to get the experience needed to get hired.
Thank you. I think your time is up. Thank you very much. Could you introduce yourself, the next person?
Hello, my name is Sierra Perrin, and I will be reading some comments on behalf of Rima Panin. I'm concerned about the possible loss of our FCC license. For many of our students, this station is their only opportunity to gain hands-on experience with a real licensed radio station, especially for those who do not have access to resource-rich universities. This experience is critical for students pursuing careers in radio and broadcast media and is a strong asset for their resumes. As someone who went through the radio program, it's deeply upsetting to see this opportunity at risk. Our responsibility should be to provide students with more opportunities, not remove them. And I have one more comment to read as well from Carter Kercheval. As a student right out of high school, Saddleback College Radio gave me an outlet that helped me build confidence and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Being able to work hands-on in a real radio environment showed me that broadcasting was something I genuinely cared about and wanted to pursue long-term. I'm now continuing that passion at the University of California, Berkeley, and a huge part of that is because of the foundation the station gave me. It's disappointing to know that the future students may lose out on the same opportunity because of the donation of our station. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you also introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Diego, and I'm here to give a little bit of a different perspective because I'm actually a listener of KSBR. So this is funny. I have long listened to KSBR in little snippets, driving home with my parents, and this is memories for me, actually. I remember we'd always have fun little arguments because my dad kind of hates jazz, and, we'd argue about it. He'd be like, oh, come on, change it. We'll just, get some pop on. But this is important to me, and I didn't know until 1 hour ago when Melody mentioned that KSBR is the jazz station that you guys have here, that's the same station that's put on here. And I'd be really concerned to see that go because that's memories for me, but also because, as you've heard, that is really important to the education of a lot of students. This is one of the only places where they could get that kind of radio education. And the last thing I want to say, I'm going to be brief, is speaking from another angle. I really believe that sort of the way this is happening is a little bit unfair. Melody was telling me a little bit ago that she only found out about this despite being a radio teacher this morning. So people have been kind of blindsided by this, and I feel that it might be more adequate to perhaps vote on this at a different meeting or a meeting later, or kind of consult with more of the radio teachers. And I'm not naive that that might mean that there's more opposition, more conversation that has to happen, and that could be difficult for the board. And I get it. I'm also not naive that $800,000 a year is a huge expense to operate the radio station. But I think that doing this kind of differently and in general, keeping this program is worth it for the experience, and also changing the method that the way that this is being done would be worth it for it to be done fairly. So that's my opinion. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. The first person, I'm sorry, what was your name again? Was it Melody?
Melody Turori.
Okay, thank you. So let me call on the next three. Daphne Hughes, Owen Engel or Fingal, and Doug Barr. And introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Daphne Hughes. Thank you. And I'm a Saddleback student currently enrolled in the radio broadcasting class. I feel not only saddened, but also disappointed by the sudden and unprecedented choice to donate our station's FCC license to Cal State Northridge. To see in writing that our radio station, quote, has not delivered the anticipated financial or instructional benefits makes me question the priorities and values of the administration here at Saddleback. Before I took radio broadcasting, I was terrified to speak in public and would never have even thought about speaking off the cuff on a platform as large as public radio. It is because of the opportunity to speak on the radio that I'm able to voice my opinion in front of all of you here today. My best friend, who is also enrolled in this class, recently became an American citizen after moving to Orange County from Egypt. Before taking radio broadcasting, she was insecure about her Arabic accent and was too afraid of being seen as foreign to speak in front of large crowds. Now she happily invites her friends and family to listen to her on 88.5, unashamed of the way that she speaks. Having KSBR as a platform shows that not only radio broadcasting class, but also Orange County as a whole is a place where everyone, regardless of background, has the opportunity to be heard. Is that not enough of an instructional benefit for you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Owen Engel, and I am also a student that is a part of the radio program here at Saddleback. And I just want to say that it would be a really disappointing thing if we were to get rid of this program. Like, I know they talk about all of the like work experience benefits for people that want to get into radio, but as someone that doesn't particularly want to pursue that work experience, even as a political science student, it's given me like incredible benefits, whether it's for my public speaking skills, being able to connect with audiences, or just being able to have a good time with my friends inside a class. It can often be stressful for students, having to go through all these different classes where they have all these essays and homeworks. And then in radio class, it's not only an opportunity to expand these different skill sets, but it's a place where you can, I don't know, create fun audios with your friend, where you can take a chance at putting yourself out there and giving yourself a voice in your community. Because often students don't get a chance to broadcast their voices to people. Young people don't get an opportunity to be able to talk in front of large crowds of people. And this radio class is one of the only places where people will actually be able to do that. So I think it's incredibly important that we maintain this privilege that we provide to our students, and that we keep pushing forward in our public broadcasting service that we have at this school. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Doug Barr, and I support KSBR, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm here to talk about different kinds of achievements. Full-time faculty get hired here, and eventually they want to stick around and they earn tenure. If they're here long enough, and most often, people stick around and retire, and they receive emeritus status. I'm here to advocate on behalf of many full-time faculty members who gained tenure but died in service before they retired. And I'm advocating, and I've done this through some other people, and I hope you eventually get an agenda item to award emeritus posthumous status to those faculty members that died with tenure. That's not my time, I hope.
No.
My second discussion on achievements has to do with the historic excellence that this college has been known from almost since time began. I came here after 17 years from Northern California because the one school I kept hearing about in Southern California because of its excellence was Saddleback College. That was in 1991, and it just keeps going. If you noticed on the marquee coming in today, Saddleback College named a top 10 community college in America. Also, Saddleback #1 in wage gains in Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Diego counties. What I'm concerned about, that these achievements are at risk. We have been a standard, excellent community college because we've met our own standards and taken on goals.
Thank you.
Those are at risk because of the new software program, and I want to compliment Chris McDonald and his team have done an outstanding effort.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Bob Cosgrove.
Good evening, I'm Bob Cosgrove. This room looks familiar. I've been Senate President here 6 different times of Academic Senate, and one time of Inter-College Academic Senate when IVC was then North Saddleback, and this was South Saddleback. But I'm here because I know many of the board members over many years and have appreciated the work that they have put in, the stress they sometimes are under, and the difficulties of running a school, 2 schools, now 3 essentially. And I want to recognize the fact that I learned a lot from many of the trustees, Jim Wright, Dave Lang, many of you who I have worked with in the past. But since this is a special evening for Marcia, I wanted to say a few words. Marcia Milchecker is the focus of the words I have to share with you. She has been and is forthright. She keeps the focus on students and the district. She tries always to grasp what issues are concerning and to research different views. She represents us all, students, faculty, classified staff, administrators, and community. She is one of the best. These were made in a 3D printer.
Oh, we're all. Thank you very much. We're about to do a resolution. Were there any other speakers in the audience that would like to speak about Marcia? We'll do that later. Okay, so at this point then, we have the resolution. Trustee Clerk Prendergast.
All right, here we go. Agenda item 6.1, a resolution honoring Trustee Marcia Milchicker's 40 years of distinguished service. Trustee Marcia Milchiker was first sworn in as a member of the South Orange County Community College District Board of Trustees on December 9th, 1985, beginning what would become one of the longest and most dedicated tenures in the history of the district. And whereas for 4 decades, Trustee Milchiker has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the students, faculty, staff, and communities served by Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College, championing academic excellence, equitable access, and innovation across all areas of the district. And whereas Trustee Milchiker has been a steadfast advocate for student success, supporting initiatives that expand transfer pathways, strengthened workforce development programs, enhanced student services, and elevated the district's reputation statewide and nationally. And whereas Trustee Milchiker has served in numerous leadership roles, including multiple terms as board president, vice president, and clerk, consistently bringing thoughtful governance, institutional knowledge, and steadfast integrity to the board. And whereas Trustee Milchiker has represented the district with distinction on regional and statewide committees, including her longstanding service with the Orange County Community College Legislative Task Force, which she helped to found and develop into a durable advocacy coalition advancing key legislative and budget priorities for community colleges. And whereas Trustee Milchiker has remained deeply engaged in student-focused initiatives, such as her role as an advisor to the Mars Rover Engineering Group and her leadership with the Saddleback College American Association of University Women chapter. She is known for attending just about every campus event and commencement ceremony and is also widely respected by community leaders and partners, always centering her work on the belief that students are the heart of the district's mission. And whereas over 40 years of service, Trustee Milchiker has contributed to transformational milestones across the district, including new campus facilities, innovative teaching and learning technologies, expanded academic programs, and strengthened fiscal stewardship, each leaving a lasting impact on future generations. And whereas Trustee Milchiker's leadership, dedication, and enduring public service embody the highest ideals of community college governance and have helped shape SOCCCD into one of the nation's premier community college districts, now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Trustees by the South Orange County Community College District hereby recognize and celebrate Trustee Marcia Milchiker for her extraordinary 40 years of service, expresses its profound gratitude for her steadfast commitment and distinguished leadership, and honors her remarkable contributions to the students and communities of South Orange County. And be it further resolved that this resolution be entered into the official minutes of the district and presented to Trustee Milchiker with the deepest appreciation of the board, the chancellor of the colleges, and the community she has faithfully served since 1985. I will call for a motion and a second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. There is now discussion. Our discussion is a little bit planned here. So we have a list. The first person who would like to make a presentation is the Vice President Dak.
So I have here this certificate of recognition for Marcia Milchiker from the city of, I believe it is Laguna Niguel. Congratulations on 40 years of distinguished public service on the South Orange County Community College District Board of Trustees. Your dedicated commitment and leadership have made significant contributions to the students and communities of South Orange County. Signed by Jean Johns, the mayor.
Okay, the second one is that one time I heard you say, Marcia, all the pictures, because Letitia and many others have, for the district, have taken a lot of pictures, and I invited myself to be like a historian just because I like to take pictures. So I take pictures all the time. So we have put together a book here of pictures that goes all the way back. I wish you could all see it. It goes all the way back to when Marcia received an award, and she had red hair, and it was long, and she was, it's great. It's just wonderful to look at, to see all this color and everything. It has Nancy Padberg, it has Dave Lang, it has Dr. Wright. I think the other person that I'm looking at in this one particular picture is Mr. J, but I never met him, but I think that's him. Anyway, it goes back, and then it has a lot for the present. So we want to present this to you. I guess we'll do it when we stand up. Okay? Okay. Now, we have some other things, but is any trustee that would like to talk at this time?
I think we're going down the line.
Just go down the line? Okay. Let's, yeah, we'll start with Terry.
Marcia, it's been a long time here, right? And I have to say, it's been a long time when I was faculty and I would mention Marcia Milchiker. Well, I know that woman, Marcia Milchiker. She's still at Saddleback? I said, yes. And even now today, somebody will always know you. And no, it's a wonderful no. So I want to express my appreciation that you bring us out as stars, and I appreciate that. You really do. You really do a lot of wonderful things for this college, for IVC, and especially for the students. Thank you.
Okay, so we're all going to say something, it looks like. Wow, Marcia, 40 years. That's remarkable. I feel like a lot of, most of you obviously aren't in closed session. I can't report on closed session, but I feel like over my 12 years on the board, when I look at someone who I've connected with on the most seminal issues, it's been Marcia. And your presence on the board is felt every day. Your connection to the students is evident, and your passion for it. And as I said recently, I consider you a very dear friend, and I spent a lot of time with you and Ben, and was sorry for the loss that happened this year. And you've been you've been a joy to work with, and we're lucky to have had you. So thank you.
Okay, somebody gave me the wrong memo. I thought this was a roast. All right. All kidding aside, I think if I can think back from my time on the board with you, one of the things I think was the most impressed by and proud of working with you is when you went after saving the emeritus program when the state was trying to get rid of it. And you were a bulldog. Like, you were a big part of that legislative advocacy group, getting involved with that and saving what we all love as a program for the colleges. So I think you should absolutely be commended for that, because that was a big deal. I haven't checked for sure. Someone maybe can check this out. Maybe it's another task for Doug Barr. But I think you may have outlasted all the buildings on campus. So your name is now on all of them that exist, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, you should be proud of that as well, because your name is on everything. And just so we're clear, I will not be going for your record. I'm not gonna go that long. So you're safe, at least in my perspective. But yes, it has been a joy to work with you.
So I'm one of the newer members on the board, as many know. In fact, you've been on the board longer than I've been alive, so congratulations. I know that's your favorite. That's I'm gonna get a plaque for that as well. Yeah, but it's been really great being on here with you. And in fact, you know, maybe folks know or don't know, like, we come here once a month, and maybe we'll have a couple of events spattered out throughout the month. But it's not like, you know, it's not as tight-knit of a community as, say, faculty, where they see each other every day. So I got to learn about Marcia in like dribs and drabs as we've decided to take that long drive up to Anaheim at 5 p.m. to go on a Friday to go to the Teacher of the Years. And it's been really interesting to hear about your sort of story and how you got involved in the board, and, you know, how your political activism even back 40 years ago was, you know, I've learned a lot from about just history here. And I'm so glad that you've been a part of this community for so long. So thank you for your service here. Congrats on 40 years.
And I'm going to say something. All I talked about was the book. I forgot the important part. The important part is that you are an inspiration to all of us, and those of us that are newer I've known you for a while before I got on the board. The thing that I really like, one of the many things I like about you so much, is the fact that you go to so many events. And I like to go to a lot of events. And it's like somebody said one time when we were at an event, Marcia isn't here. I had to look at my calendar. I thought maybe I had the wrong date. You know? And so everybody knows that. And that shows a deep commitment on a weekly level, really. So we all appreciate that very, very much. And I appreciate, as far as when you were president, I got to serve on the Orange County Legislative Task Force, which you started. And that's, I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's all 4 districts, and they go together. And it's smart, you know, rather than all 4 doing separate things. And of course, they can do separate things as well, but there's a coordination there, and you thought about it, and we're happy to have you still serving on it. So thank you very much.
Well, I've only been on the board for about a year. Actually, this month makes 1 year. So, but I knew Marcia going way back, many, many years ago, and I've always been really impressed with her commitment to excellence, both in her personal and her professional life. She's fun and easygoing, and I've just never met anyone who was so dedicated. When she talked about, you know, everything in life, whether it's the College Board or her grandkids or what she was doing traveling with Ben, she was always so committed and so passionate about life. And I thought, you know, that's the way you want to live your life, is to be passionate about everything you do every single day. And that's how Marcia is. And I think it's a great characteristic to have, and really look forward to continuing to serve with you. I won't say another 40 years, but we just really enjoy, all of us, working with you. And your dedication and commitment is something to be definitely commended. And congratulations on a fabulous 40 years.
So I've only been here since May, and I just want to say, I don't know if I would have had as much fun if you were not sitting next to me. Your passion is unquestionable, and your selflessness is just unmatched. Honestly, congratulations, and it's very awesome from a student perspective to see someone spend so much of their life doing this. Congratulations.
Thank you, Blake. Chancellor?
Oh. Well, I get to present a beautiful thing here. But before I do, I just want to say a few things, and then I'm going to present this beautiful photo that you're going to absolutely love. And so I had the great honor in 2022 of becoming the chancellor of the South Orange County Community College District, and I had the privilege of having Trustee Milchiker as the board president at the time. So who better to introduce me to the district than the trustee who has had the most longevity in our district? And I'll just say, you have always shown so much integrity, commitment, humor, and I'll echo also what Trustee Bartlett said. I think you're a true model, actually, for many women as well, with regard to balancing the personal and professional. You always talked a lot about your family. I had the honor of traveling a little bit with you and your husband, Ben, and you guys are a hoot and funny, and it was just so beautiful always, and you always talk about your family, and that love comes through both from your family perspective, but also through work. And so you live your life in a very beautiful way, and you're a role model for so many of us, including myself, and getting me a little choked up here. So I want to say that. And the other thing I want to make mention of is we all know about the Community College League of California, which is our advocacy arm. And so the CEO, Larry Galizio, I did ask him to look into the public records for the state of California to see if indeed you are the longest standing current trustee. And sure enough, you are. However, 40 years. However, there is, but you share it with one other trustee at Butte College in Northern California who also started in 1985. However, Larry Galizio today put it in writing that he believes, and I agree, that you are one step above that trustee because you know how to get down and boogie on the dance floor. At every single conference, you dance from the first song to the last song. You really do, and everyone knows it because all the CEOs go, is that Eminem? And I'm like, yes, Eminem, Martha, because you go by Eminem. So they know you by Eminem and on the dance floor. But again, you know, I love it. Work hard, play hard, super committed, so much integrity. And again, I think we're just so honored and privileged. And so all the employees, all the students have benefited all these years from your service. So thank you so much. So I have... this really, it takes a village. I do want to call out Dr. Clark, Letitia Clark, our public information officer, and Leah and Ryan and the whole team. They dug out all these pictures, and one that just like kind of surfaced. Ryan Brook actually found this one. I'm going to give credit to him. He actually got this framed. This is the original picture of you being sworn in 1985. And your original certificate of election. So here it is. Yes. And I'll let you say a few things about it, but as I understand it, in 1985, there were not very many women on the boards of trustees, and if I'm not mistaken, there were several women being sworn in. At 3 in 1985, and it kind of like, you know, kind of turned things around a little bit for our district. And then we want to know why we're number one. Yay. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to turn it over to you because I know you want to say a few words, and then we're going to invite some family and friends up here to the dais, and we're going to take some pictures.
Oh, cool. Well, I just have to say I'm just honored, and I feel like Tom Sawyer, who is attending his own funeral somehow, because I feel like I died and went to heaven, and here I am listening to all these wonderful things about me, and I say, who are they talking about? But I guess it's me. And I also want to explain that when I run for office, I hand out M&Ms so they would remember Marcia Milchiker. So when people see me, they say, oh, there's the M&M lady. And I also remember that 30 years ago, when my husband, who passed away this past July, came down with stage 4 lung cancer 30 years ago, and we started exploring what to do and where to go for treatment and for chemotherapy and radiation and all that really technical stuff to keep him alive. I'd say, we're not going to do this unless we have fun with it. So he would always say, fun with cancer with Marcia. So he would always say that. So we had a good time, and he lived for 30 years after that with stage 4 lung cancer. So that was pretty amazing. So that was really, incredible. That was great. So thank you so much for my friends and colleagues and relatives who came today, my son and 2 granddaughters. And I really appreciate all of that, and old friends and new friends. Actually, we have a lot in common. Can you hear me? Yeah. Actually, we have a lot in common with everybody in the room, because none of us knows what I'm going to say. And you're praying that I'm going to be brief. And some speakers start with a joke, some speakers start with an apology, and I'm going to say that I'm starting with an apology for some dreadful jokes. And on top of that, the problem with political jokes is they get elected. So that's really scary.
That was good.
Okay, I'm receiving this recognition really for simply showing up for something I've loved doing for 40 years. I'm humbled by this recognition, but I have the strength of character to fight it. Okay? My 3 young sons and I walked countless precincts in my first campaign, one in a stroller and the other 2 older brothers walking with us, handing out flyers. They helped because they adored attending the Saddleback College preschool. Plus, it was a lot of fun. And it feels like yesterday, but you know time has passed when the candles cost more than the cake does. So you know, it's been 40 years. This campaign was exhilarating. And IVC, when I was first elected, was just an orange grove. And Saddleback was panicked about the new North Campus absconding with precious Saddleback College resources. So now we get along great. And I've adored being involved in our college's incredible successes. And this is what our team, has accomplished. IVC went from an orange grove to the #1 transfer school in the state of California, maybe the nation. Saddleback ranked #1 in the nation in nursing and so many others. Both ranked nationally in athletics and the arts. Our district is constantly ranked tops in education and in fiscal management. This earned both colleges prestigious Aspen rankings and the best place to work, thanks to the great trustees. and we get students into their dream universities and into great jobs, and this is so important. And ATEP is booming, bringing internship opportunities and crucial revenues to our system for students and for our taxpayers. I served as a biology professor in another district, but never wanted to be anywhere else but here. When I tell people where I work, everyone loves our colleges, and you all know how precious it is to have our constituents and friends love our colleges. Our successes are rooted in our people. Sincere thanks to our incredible professors, classified professionals, and administrators. Your commitment of time, expertise, and leadership is truly awe-inspiring. You go above and beyond every single day, fostering our incredible culture, which astounds me, that creates our student success. We are the best community colleges in the nation, and that's because of what all of you do every single day. I have loved spending many fruitful and frankly fun hours on our campuses. My greatest joy is shaking hands with the graduates at commencement, and I'm always deeply impressed with our students who graduate cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude, because I graduated Ohio State, thank the Lordy. So I'm just so impressed. Education is the key to success and the #1 thing that we could help our students survive and thrive and do well for themselves, their families, and their communities. And we serve over 60,000 students every single year. So that means in the last 40 years, we have served almost 1.5 million students. Well, that is the most impressive thing that all of us could ever have done, helping 2.5 million students succeed, do well, get good jobs, get into the university they dream about, and really making a difference for themselves, their communities, their families, and their lives. There's nothing that we could have done that was greater than this job, and nothing that none of us could have done, and nothing I could have done that was more important than this, and I feel that from the very beginning. To my friends and family today, you are my inspiration, and I'm grateful for all of you. This has been the absolute privilege of a lifetime to be a small part in the extraordinary success of our colleges over these last 40 years. I thank all of my colleagues for saying such wonderful things about me. I feel like I died or something. Were they talking about me? But it's a really wonderful feeling. And as I said, it's a team. We all work together as a team. And it's really all of you who do all the heavy work at the colleges. make it so that hopefully you're happy, so that you're great to our students. Okay, so that's what we do. So thank you so much for all you do, and really thank you so many people, friends and family, for being here today. Also, thank you.
All right, let's bring up, oh, yes. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's so sweet. All right, let's bring up the family members, and I see Bob and Brenda and any of the other, I see the neighbor, so some of the family and friends that showed up. We'll take some pictures with the various plaques and such up here.
First thing, we need to vote on the resolution.
Oh, I'll vote yes, what the heck, you know? I want it to be unanimous, you know?
The motion carries on a 7-0 vote, with the student trustee voting yes as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Yay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
At this time, we will, adjourn the regular meeting and call the annual organization meeting to order. In accordance with California Educational Code Section 35143 and pursuant to Board Policy 2305, the Board of Trustees will take separate action on items 3.7 through 3.12 in order to comply with the requirements of the annual organization meeting. 3.6, we'll now turn to item which is the election of officers. I will now ask for a nomination for each officer position and then call for a motion and a second, at which time the vote will take place. Number 1, we will now accept motion for the office of president.
Madam President, I'd like to
Yes.
make a motion.
Yes, Mr. Jamal, trustee.
So, on behalf of the people of Area 7, including Mission Viejo, Rancho Santa Margarita, Ladera Ranch, and a small part of Laguna Niguel, I nominate Carolyn Inman for the office of president.
I'll second.
Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there discussion? Okay, we will now vote. The motion carries on a 7-0 vote. Thank you very much. I enjoy the work and am dedicated to the reason that we're all here. So thank you very much. Number 2, I will now accept motions for the office of vice president. Trustee.
I move, without so much pomp and circumstance, I move trustee Dack for vice president.
I second.
It has been moved by trustee Dack, trustee Prendergast, and seconded by trustee Milchiker that trustee Dack become the vice president. Is there any discussion? Vote, please. The motion carries on a 7-0 vote, with student trustee Leonard voting yes as well. Congratulations. Now turning to the third officer position, do we have a motion and second for the officer of clerk of the board?
I would like to move that trustee Prendergast be nominated for clerk of the board, speaking as a trustee from Irvine and
There you go.
part of Lake Forest and half of Laguna Woods and half of Aliso Viejo and some unincorporated area in Laguna Beach.
See, I second that. It started a pretty good tradition.
Did I hear a second?
I did.
It has been moved by trustee Dack and seconded by trustee Pendergrast. No, by trustee Jamal. Yes, think about it.
On behalf of the cities of Tustin and North Tustin, I humbly accept the nomination.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a discussion? Let's vote, please. Oh, with one abstention, the vote carries 6-0, with student trustee also voting yes. Thank you. Okay, we're now on 3.7. We are moving to item appointment of the secretary and assistant secretary of the Board of Trustees. After the appointment of the secretary and assistant secretary, the board will vote on both appointees. Can I have a motion for secretary and assistant secretary?
I nominate the chancellor to be the secretary and Vice Chancellor Gable be the assistant secretary.
I second it.
It has been moved by trustee Prendergast and seconded by trustee Milchiker that Chancellor Barnes be the secretary and Chancellor Gable be the assistant secretary. Is there discussion? Let's vote, please. The motion carries on a 7-0 vote with trustee Leonard voting yes as well. Okay, 3.8. We are now moving on to item appointment of trustee representatives to various committees and organizations. We will seek a motion and second to begin the process, and after all the nominations have been made, we will vote at the end collectively. Do I have a motion and a second?
For what?
So moved.
Second?
It has been moved, by trustee Prendergast and seconded by trustee Bartlett. Let's start then. Number 1, representative to the nominating committee to elect members to serve on the Orange County Committee on School District Organization. The purpose of the committee is to review nominations to the Orange County Committee on School District Organizations that are submitted between July and October through a nomination process. They elect the committee members by absentee ballot, by an in-person ballot, or the joint OCSBA-ACSA meeting between October 1st and December 1st. Members of the nominating committee are not listed. Do we have a vote for the representative?
I'll just share, I'm the current representative, and I'd be happy to do it again, but, you know. if
I move
anyone-
trustee Dack as the
Second.
representative.
I second.
Okay.
Who's the current alternate?
I do not know who the.
I don't,
I do not. You are the alternate.
like we can move it in one motion because they're both agendized. So I'll move trustee Dack as the representative to the nominating committee and trustee Prendergast as the alternate.
Okay, thank you. Then we vote at the end. The second position,
Hold real quick.
no, we don't vote, we vote after
Is
all
it-
the,
Did we not normally get a list of who's currently on?
No, we ordinarily did.
I have.
Oh, you have it.
And I
got it.
forgot to mention at that time.
Thank you.
I will do better. Number 2, district's political action representative to the Orange County School Boards Association. Trustee Prendergast is the current representative. The purpose of the committee. Currently, TJ Prendergast III is our representative. There are 3 dinner meetings annually. The OCSBA provides networking and communication on issues impacting public education and recognizes services through the Maureen DeMarco and Marion Bergeson Awards. They have educational topic centers, meetings, 30 minutes prior to the dinners that inform board members of pending litigation affecting education, coordinate efforts to enhance local control, promote quality education for all students, and ensure adequate financial support for public schools. And trustee Prendergast is the current representative.
I so move.
Second?
Okay,
Well, let me ask, does trustee Prendergast, would he like to continue being the representative for this?
I don't mind continuing, but I'm currently the treasurer for that board.
Oh, yay.
And I don't know, I don't think it matters, but in thinking of it, I almost wonder if this would be, no, it's fine. Yeah, I'll do it.
You've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I have.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so trustee Prendergast will be our representative.
I guess where I was going with it
Oh,
is if somebody else wanted to do it, then with you being on the board and me
Right.
being a treasurer, we just dominate the Orange County School Board
We do.
Association.
It's true. We're the higher ed representatives in a primarily K-12 group, but used to that. Okay, so that's all right? Okay, number 3, this is the one we talked about before, the Orange County Legislative Task Force that Trustee Milchiker started some time ago. She is now the current representative, and Trustee Inman is the alternate.
So I move trustee Milchiker and trustee Inman retain these rules.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? Okay, we'll leave it at that unless there's someone else that wants to chime in. Okay, number 4, representatives to the Irvine Valley College Foundation and the Saddleback College Foundation. The representatives at the moment for IVC, Trustee Inman, and for Saddleback, Trustee Bartlett. Is
So
it,
I move that trustee Inman continue to represent IVC and trustee Bartlett to represent Saddleback College Foundation.
Second that.
and I am more than happy to do that. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go on to number 5, representatives to the SOCCCD Audit Committee, which met today, to serve on pre-audit and exit meetings, the chair, the representative, and alternate. Right now, Trustee Prendergast is the chair. Trustee Bartlett is the first representative, and Trustee Jamal the second, and Trustee Dack is the alternate. Is this fine for this time, or do we want to change that? What do you think? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, thank you. Number 6, representative to the Board of Trustees Board Policy Subcommittee. At the moment, Trustee Dack is the chair, Trustee Inman is the first representative, Trustee Bartlett is the second representative, and Trustee Milchiker is the alternative. It's a very important committee. Is this what we want to stick with, or does somebody else want one of those positions?
You guys tackled a lot of tough issues this year, so I would say that it should continue, my view.
Okay, any disagreement?
We're coming down to the end here, and Trustee Jamal's going another year with skating by with being on hardly anything. I'm calling him out. I think he needs to step up on one of
On
these.
behalf of the people of Tustin.
He's flying by under the radar again.
Trustee Jamal, do you want to step in here and anywhere?
I mean, I'm on the audit committee, so
Yes.
One.
And
what would you like to do?
You may take my place on the policy if you'd like.
or you could take my place on the policy, and I could move to alternate.
Or you can take my place on the political action.
You take my place on it.
Choose.
At least it's up to you. I mean, if you want to keep doing it, it's totally fine. Like, I'm not seeking it. So I know we don't have any written rules about succession and terms. I think we've fallen back de facto into 2 years if we think the committees and the officers have done what we think they should do. So, well, I'm happy to serve on it, Trustee Bartlett, but it's really, I'm totally fine if you continue to do it. I think you've done
Okay,
fine.
And I think you make a good point about the 2 years, so
Yeah.
we can let you skate for another year.
Okay, thank you.
But the next year,
Okay, so are we sticking with the same people? Looks like it, all right. Number 7, representative to the SOC Legislative Advocacy Subcommittee. Chair and representatives and alternate. Trustee Milchiker is the current chair. Trustee Bartlett is the first representative. Trustee Inman is the second representative, and Trustee Jamal is the alternate.
See, there you go.
Any changes?
So I think it makes sense for this, well, it could go either way, but I think it makes sense for the representation on this subcommittee to align with the legislative task force. right? It seems to have done that this year or last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, are there any changes suggested? Looks like we're just kind of keeping our jobs, or lack of jobs. Okay, that's it. So let's now call for a vote for all committee appointments. The motion has already been made. It's not necessary at this time. Okay, the motion carries on a 6-0 vote, with trustee Leonard voting advisory as well, and one abstention. Okay, so now we're going to the regular meeting dates. You have them in your packet, et cetera. Are there any, can we have a motion, please?
Move the item.
Second? Second. Okay. It has been moved by trustee Bartlett and seconded by trustee Milchiker that we accept the dates as listed. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, trustee Prendergast?
I have two dates. The June 22nd meeting, I won't be in town, so I was going to see if there's a way we could move it to June 15th. If anybody would be able to do that.
I'm looking at my calendar right now.
Or if there's a reason why we could not do that.
Are you making a motion or are you asking?
I'm asking.
Asking.
I know we can make changes.
I was just gonna say, if you're
by
making a
amending
motion, I
the
was gonna second it, but.
I don't think, there's a motion and second on the item.
Yeah.
So we're just,
So-
then,
So could, just from a purely selfish reason, we have the tentative budget that goes to the board in June. So if you're gonna move it, could you move it to June 29th rather than moving it up to June 15th? Because that would be more difficult for us to finish the budget in time to get to you. It has to be approved by July 1st.
The only thing about that is that's a holiday week, so there
Yeah.
might be people.
Yeah,
June 29th?
June 29th is really dicey for me. I know that.
It's for me too, because you're going to.
Sorry, brother.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask, is there any reason why it has to be on a Monday and not some other time that would be more, I don't know, open for others?
well, I mean, I'll be out of town, all of that. So, yeah, it doesn't matter. No, I just, I'll miss it, I guess. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I know sometimes if we have enough people that we're gonna be gone.
No, I mean, I'm happy
If
to.
it's just
move-
me, then that's okay.
Well, what days are you out?
I'm leaving on the 20th and I'm getting back the 5th.
I know, and so many times in other organizations, when you change it, you then lose somebody else.
Well, that's why I was asking.
Right, right.
But it's not about whether we're available, it's whether they have the budget
Right.
ready, and that you're pushing them a week early, and I don't wanna do that.
Yeah,
So I'll just miss it.
okay.
All right, and then my other date, the August 31st meeting, is there a reason we can't have it on the 24th?
Same.
So if we moved it to the 15th, you'd have longer to get it ready.
No, because we have to close the books before we can finalize. So that one's even.
Okay.
I mean, I would rather move the June one to June 15th than move the August one.
I'm not gone on the August 31st. I was just wondering why we're going to the 5th week when we're always on the 4th week.
And again, that's to give
budget.
us a long enough time to close the books and then do the budget.
So can you manage the 15th?
June 15th? We could, yes.
She's like, no. No, again, as Trustee
mean,
Inman
it
pointed
is a
out,
tentative
just,
budget, so
we
I
make a
think-
move for me to be able to be there, and then all of a sudden we find out somebody else can't be there on the 15th. It destroys the whole concept.
Right.
So I'm okay with leaving it, I just was asking.
Yeah. And the
now I know why.
August 31st, I would say that one is already a push, and that was kind of why it is on the 31st, because it takes us at least 5 weeks to close the books, and then that only gives us basically a week and a half to get the budget done after we've closed the books at the end of the year. So that one's a real tough one.
Sure. All right. Well,
So
it is what
does
it
it
is.
sound like we're leaving it as is?
Well, can I ask a more general question? Is there, I mean, it sounds like there's probably some budgetary reasons why it's traditionally one of the last Mondays of the month, but is there any other reason why our meetings are typically the fourth Monday? Is it possible it could be a Tuesday, or I'm just curious what the kind of philosophy behind that is, if anyone knows. No.
It's been Monday since I've worked here
But there's
too. I don't
no,
know why it's a Monday.
there's no prohibition if we wanted to move it to another day of the week.
Correct.
We could move it to any day of the week.
Okay, all right, just was wondering. All right, thank you.
Mondays tend to have the least conflicts.
Yeah.
It's also probably easier on the student trustees as far as the beginning of their schedule for the week versus right in the middle when maybe they've gotten a lot of homework. I don't know.
If my input matters, from my, own selfish, not a single day would bother me. Monday through Friday, do not care. If that influences any decision.
Move it to Friday.
I'm sure everyone wants to stay here until 9 p.m. every Friday.
Except Fridays and Sundays.
Board, Board Policy 2310 identifies the fourth Monday of the month.
Okay.
Well, I mean, beyond, we can change the board policy. I was just curious if there was like, okay, well, the budget needs to be done by this time, so it's just, we've set it as Mondays for those reasons.
Yeah.
The budget guidelines are, the tentative budget has to be adopted by the board before July 1st, so by June 30th. And the adopted budget has to be done by September 15th. But since our September meeting is later in the month, that's why we have to do it the last meeting in August. And so we try to push it to the very last Monday in August to give us as much time as possible.
I do believe that we had it on a certain day, the second, third, or fourth, also for the public, so they have an idea, those that are interested, that we always have it on that fourth Monday, and that has been accepted countywide, so.
It sounds like a long-term discussion if people are interested, but for now, it's Monday, I'm sure.
Okay, so what did we decide?
To keep it.
We need to keep it, yeah.
Keep it?
Okay. So it is, if there isn't any other discussion, it's been moved by trustee Bartlett and seconded by trustee Milchiker. Please vote. The motion carries on a 7-0 vote with trustee Leonard also voting yes, advisory. Okay, number 310, establishment of agenda planning calendar. No. Yes, okay, agenda, just a minute, let me,
So moved.
Second?
wait a second, I've got to get it up here. Okay, it is, I'm sorry, moved by trustee Prendergast and seconded by trustee Bartlett. Is there any discussion? Okay, let's vote. The motion carries 7-0 with student trustee voting yes as well. The next is the approval of the agenda format.
So move.
Second?
I wanted to get mine up here and now it's not, just a minute. Well, I had a really minor, I don't have a copy of it right this minute, but 1.4, where we say the actions that have been taken, that's in the beginning, before the call to order. It isn't on there, and it seems like it might be important to have it on, because one of the first meetings I ran, I didn't do it, because I didn't see it. I don't know why it's not doing it.
Are you talking about the required readout for
No.
closed session?
Before closed session.
Right. So the required readout that we do, you want to add 1.4 to make sure that's a placeholder?
Yeah. Well, Right, it isn't the readout, it's the going into the closing.
Right, it's a readout before we go to
The
closed session.
matters to
Yeah,
be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like it's, you know,
It's a required statement before we go to
right.
closed session.
Is that-
I would concur that that should be on there.
Is there any objection? Is that acceptable? Okay.
I do have, are we, I
Yes.
assume we're good with that. Moving on, I'm curious if there's any interest from the board, because this is, you know, we just did our organization meeting. Typically, when there is changeover, it's kind of, you have one president at the beginning, and then you have another president right after, and it can be a little bit jarring. So I wanted to know if there was any thought on potentially moving the organization meeting to the very end of the meeting, so that that president who is there just finishes out that meeting, and then the new president comes in. Because, I mean, we do have a rotational order, but, you know, that's not always gonna happen. And so if someone gets thrust into the presidency and they're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, it can be very stressful. So I just want to know if there's any thoughts or conversation we can have about having our organization meeting every December at the very end of the meeting versus at the very beginning.
I think that's a good idea. Because if you get it and then there's a 10-minute recess and then suddenly you're sitting there, you know, sometimes not knowing that you were going to get it. And that's what happened, and then, you know, you're sort of struggling. But I don't know would that have to be decided tonight, or is that something we could discuss?
Chancellor, I don't think that needs to be decided tonight. The
No.
order of the agenda can be decided later, correct? Yeah, so I don't, and on the issue itself, I'm agnostic. I really don't
Yeah.
care if it's at the beginning or the end.
So should we just postpone it and decide later? Or,
We'll just note it, and I just want to make sure there's nothing kind of regulatory or policy-wise that says that we do it a particular way. I think we've always done it midway through, and then we kind of, it's like a passing of the baton to the new president, so
Right.
it's kind of maybe more ceremonial. But so long as we're able to do it, we'll just take note next year and develop the agenda accordingly.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking from when I first, if it's an election year and someone's getting sworn in, it certainly might give someone the opportunity to kind of get their feet wet into the position to understand what's going on, versus when I got elected, I got sworn in and then was nominated vice president that night. It was crazy. I mean, I hadn't done anything yet, and yet there was.
Look at you now, Mr. Tustin.
Look at me now. Look at me now.
Short period of time.
So funny.
So, yeah, I think
You're at
that's
the Phoenix.
that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they look up and see if there's any policy against it, but it kind of makes sense.
yeah, it does. I kept thinking we had an hour with each leader to onboard to become a trustee and 10 minutes to become president. I thought that was a little jarring fast. So let's discuss that as we go on. Okay? It's time then to vote on the agenda format. The motion carries 7-0, with trustee Leonard also voting yes. Okay, so that concludes our annual organization meeting. It is now adjourned. We have at this point, we knew this was going to be lengthy and interesting, but without objection, I'd like to move 8.1, which is the presentation on legislative advocacy, to this point, so that the presenters can do their presentation, and then we would go to reports and consent and so forth. Is that acceptable? Okay. Let's go to 8.1 then. Would you like to introduce them?
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dr. Clark to introduce Townsend.
Good evening, honorable trustees. You all know Casey Elliott well. He's the Vice President of Townsend Public Affairs. This is our second or third year working with you all, third year now. So he represents us in Sacramento. Joseph Mello, who some of you have met, represents us in DC. But overall, tonight's going to be a comprehensive review of legislation that we monitored, opposed, supported, and just an update on meaningful and impactful legislation at the state and federal level that we should know about this year. He's also going to kind of preview some priorities that we should focus on for the next legislative cycle. And I know many of you are traveling to Sacramento and DC just in a few weeks. And so Casey and his team will also be helping us a lot with that. We also have a legislative subcommittee on meeting on Wednesday. And so a lot of what is discussed today will kind of carry over to that meeting. So feel free to ask Casey any questions, give him a hard time if you need to. But he's very knowledgeable and very helpful throughout the year during the legislative session. So with that, without further ado, Casey, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Casey Elliott, Vice President, Townsend Public Affairs. I want to provide you guys a brief update of kind of what occurred in '25, and then as well as a look ahead to what we have in store in Sacramento and DC in the upcoming year. Kind of at big picture, this year we saw just under 2,400 bills introduced in Sacramento, which is actually probably a little bit less. This year they instituted new bill limitations, so each member was only allowed to introduce 35 bills as opposed to 45 bills over a 2-year session. So we did see a little bit of a dip in legislation that was introduced this year. Of those 2,400 bills, just over 900 of them were approved by the legislature, with 790 being signed into law and 123 being vetoed. So approximately 1/3 of the bills that we saw introduced this year ultimately became law. The veto rate that we saw was probably a little bit higher than has been the case with Governor Newsom in this legislature. I think that's largely given the budget circumstances that the state was facing this year. There just were a lot of bills that were sent that were vetoed because they didn't have funding included within the state budget. Which, as we look at the bills, the policy topics that really impacted community colleges this year, obviously the state budget deficit right off the beginning was, kind of really defined the beginning of the year. The administration had looked at about a $35 billion budget deficit that they were looking to address in this year's budget, which really just kind of limited the number of opportunities that there were for new investments or major expansions. So a lot of the policy was really dictated by that this year. Obviously, the ongoing conversations related to nursing and BA degrees in that field continued. I'll get to that in just a moment. Number of bills this year really focusing on workforce training, workforce development, job skills, really moving students through and into the workforce into high demand jobs. That's starting at also on the dual enrollment side, getting students better prepared to come into and then move through the system in a expeditious and affordable manner. And then also continued conversations this year related to student housing and basic needs. The housing conversation wasn't as much on the funding side this year as policy changes that the legislature could be considering to help streamline and facilitate the development of some of those projects. And a lot of the basic need conversations stemmed from some of the actions that were occurring in Washington, D.C. that were impacting students, faculties, and community members. When we look at some of the specific bills that were considered this year and that the district took a position on, there's going to be some familiar bills that we've seen before, a couple of new ones. Off the bat, AB 90 by Assemblymember Jackson, this year's version of the overnight parking bill for students. That bill, as has been the case in previous years, moved through the policy committees, but was ultimately held in appropriations due to fiscal concerns. Though I would note this year's version of the bill kind of keeps getting scaled back a little bit more every year. The version of the bill this year ultimately would have had districts include a proposed parking lot program as part of your safety elements, and then the board would vote on whether or not you wanted to adopt that. One time, if you didn't, you didn't. If you did, you did. So the bill, while it still hasn't become law, won't necessarily be surprised to see it reintroduced next year, but the bill itself is becoming much more restrained than when it was originally introduced. SB 323 was another measure by Assemblymember Fong, Chair of the Higher Education Committee, to provide flexibility with some of the workforce funding that districts get for allowing for funding to be used for internship, externships, things along those lines. So again, trying to provide more flexibility with the dollars that are there in lieu of being able to provide additional dollars. We have bills like 335, which was an example of a well-meaning bill, well-intended bill, but ultimately wasn't included within, funding wasn't included for it within the budget. So ultimately bills such as 335 had a hard time moving out of appropriations. Assembly Bill 648, this is the type of bill that I was noting that was supported by the district as it relates to helping facilitate housing without necessarily providing direct dollars in the form of a bond or something like that. This bill, similar to many of the housing streamlining bills that have been moving through on the local government side of the legislature, allows for certain developments, if they had a certain level of student housing, faculty housing, to be streamlined through and avoid many of the ministerial and approval processes that go through on the city and county sides of the House. And that bill was signed into law. So, developments meet those criteria. They can, again, move through in a more expedited fashion. And then the last bill, obviously, probably the most focus on this year, AB 1400, which was a reintroduction of the nursing pilot program bill. Largely similar provisions to the Roth bill from the year before, moved through the legislature with strong bipartisan support, and then ultimately was vetoed by Governor Newsom at the very end of his bill signing period, citing many of the same concerns that he had previously with the Roth bill, namely the investments that are being made through nursing, through the funding that came from the Strong Workforce Program, and then also emphasizing partnerships with CSUs. So those were, kind of a mix of the highlights, sampling of the bills that were introduced this year and considered this year. When we look at specific actions, obviously, we assisted with, drafting support letters, letting the district staff, the chancellor know bills that were introduced, potential impacts to the district, working with the legislative committee, delivering those positions, advocating then on behalf of the district with higher ed committee, Senate Education Committee, the administration, as was noted by Letitia earlier, working on advocacy trips, planning for upcoming one in Sacramento. So we'll see you guys in a little over a month here. And then also helping support the legislative committee and the legislative task force where appropriate, which I should actually probably thank Trustee Milchiker. Congratulations. I know I've had the privilege of helping staff the task force many times over the years, and I've always appreciated it. So thank you for that. As we start to kind of pivot from 25 and look forward to 2026, we're going to have some themes that continue, but really a couple of items I think are probably going to define the policy landscape that we're looking at. The first is the state budget. We do have the early indications from the Legislative Analyst's Office that they believe we're looking at, still feels weird to say a modest budget deficit of $18 billion, but on a $250 billion budget, general fund budget, they're projecting around an $18 billion budget deficit this year, growing to $35 billion in the out years. So obviously the legislature and administration will want to take activities to rein that in, given it's an election year and for many other reasons probably not going to be balanced on a revenue side, so we'll be looking for adjustments, many of the things that the legislature likes to do. Though I would note, based on the LAO's estimates, the revenue coming into the state is more or less flat, maybe a slight uptick, and really where the pressure is becoming on the budget deficit, causing the budget deficit is on increased expenditures through health and human services activities and some of the other impacts that we're seeing on the from policy decisions being made in Washington, D.C. So from that sense, it's good in that we aren't looking at overall dipping of state revenues. We're really just kind of modifying the expenditure side. It's worth noting that the excess revenue that is coming in, projected to come into the state this year compared to last year, will largely go to Prop 98 requirements, rainy day requirements, and then likely paying back the deferrals from Prop 98 in previous budgets. So the excuse me, the increased revenue will be benefiting on the education side of the house. Similar to as we've seen this administration and honestly the Brown administration previously, when there are these budget deficits, we usually see January budgets that are really pared back, not a lot of extravagant new proposals, not a lot of new spending. So we would anticipate a budget proposal in January that'll likely have much revenue dedicated towards, again, deferral repayments, COLAs, those types of things, but probably not a lot of new announcements of expanding programs. The other big factor that's going to be going into 26, obviously, is an election year. We have a number of legislators in kind of this post-Prop 50 era that are looking to run for offices. So you have that coupled with term limits. So you have the natural kind of rolling out of members. And then you have a number of legislators looking to run for additional offices, congressional and otherwise. You also are going to be going into the final year of the Newsom administration. So any kind of last hurrahs that he wants to have done, we would be looking for those to be introduced and leverage to be put on that. And then coupled with, in the Senate side, we have a new pro tem, Senator Monique Limon out of Santa Barbara, officially took over as pro tem in mid-November. She'll kind of have the ceremonial swearing in when the legislature returns on January 5th. But along with that comes a new leadership team, will come new committee assignments that we're still waiting for. So we'll really kind of have to see who kind of gets slotted into those positions and how that may impact some of the bills that we see go through those committees. On the policy side, I think there's been a lot of discussion about, there's always discussion this time of year about what bills are going to get reintroduced. So bills that were vetoed, like the nursing bill, would not be surprised to see that come back. Bills that were held on appropriations generally get reintroduced as opposed to moving off committee. So I think that we'll see a handful of our friends, our familiar bills come back this year. But also there's been a lot of discussion related to workforce development and skills training. On the Assembly side, they have a new selects committee focused on workforce development and job training that actually just had an informational hearing last week over at St. Anna College. Chair Fong was there, I think, in speaking with his committee staff, his staff. There's going to be a lot of focus for the committee really in the areas of workforce development and training. So I think there's going to be a lot of good opportunities this upcoming year. And then at this time right now, there's a lot of conversations, not necessarily bills, but conversations around possible responses to some of the audits that we saw last year come out of the state auditor's office, most notably the 50% law, whether or not that materializes into legislation, whether that legislation advances, what it looks like, all still to be determined. The deadline to introduce new bills this year is February 20th, so we'll anticipate those conversations occurring for a couple more weeks. Moving over to the East Coast, a lot of issues obviously impacting community colleges in any number of places to start kind of just, but at the top, obviously there's been ongoing conversations related to appropriations and programmatic funding, which culminated in the government shutdown that we saw, and then the passing of the CR, which I'll get to in just a second, is still kind of an ongoing conversation. The new administration, obviously the changes being made over at the Department of Education, shifting those responsibilities over to other agencies has been a challenge to work through to try to figure out what staff are still at Department of Ed, things are going there. So a lot of the work in DC this year has been tracking down funding, staffing, who's responsible for various oversight of programs. So a lot of time was spent this year just kind of in response to all the activities going on over at the Department of Ed. On the policy side, we did see the adoption of HR 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill, which had a number of provisions in it, including modifications to Pell Grants, the establishment of Workforce Pell, some other elements that impacted student loan repayment, debt forgiveness. So there were, obviously, that was a much larger bill, but did have a number of things related to community colleges. Also, some of the modifications that we saw to Medicaid, nutrition assistance that also are impactful to students, faculty, and community members. Spent a lot of time, again, really dealing with the implications of HR 1. Civil Rights Supreme Court, I don't think I need to go into much of all the legal activity that was going on, some of the notifications and lawsuits back and forth between the administration down to colleges, state in response to those, a lot of the judicial activity that took place this year and is still ongoing, and the impact that had. So obviously trying to work closely with delegations to let them know of the impacts on the ground and how all of those worked. As far as the work with the district, and largely, as was noted earlier, Joseph Mello, my colleague in our DC office, worked directly with the district, with the colleges to help develop and submit earmark requests on behalf of the Veteran Mental Health and Workforce Development Program at IVC. That project was selected by both senators and advanced for consideration of the Appropriations Committee. Unfortunately, that project was not included within the committee's write-up, which still is pending adoption. Number of different thoughts about that. I think the project was great. It was along the lines of what was looking to be funded within those programs. Unfortunately, the California senators just probably didn't get as many projects included within the LHHS bill as other folks. But again, we'll continue working, continue refining the projects, continue figuring out what the senators want, and also working where we can with the members on the House side. Advocacy trips, working with the ACCT National Summit Advocacy trips, student advocacy trips, again, continue to enjoy having folks out, look forward to doing that again. Support letters, working to help develop positions, communicate those positions, and then again, working to kind of keep everyone up to date on all of the various executive orders that were coming out of DC. Similarly, when we look forward to DC, there's going to be continue to do some themes that we saw on the state side. Obviously, the federal budget, we're currently in a position right now where Congress has approved a continuing resolution to fund most of the government through January 30th. I say most of because as part of the continuing resolution, 3 of the 12 appropriations bills were approved for full year. So we do have 3 full year bills, and we're waiting for 9 more. That will come due at the end of January. Assuming that those are able to be adopted on time, the Congress will then quickly pivot to FY27, establishing those appropriations priorities. I would anticipate that we're going to continue to advance on the same schedule, which would mean solicitation of potential community development projects in the March-April timeframe. Of the 3 bills that were full year bills that were approved as part of the continuing resolution, the Ag bill did contain earmarks. We're optimistic that the other earmarkable bills that are up at the CR will contain earmarks, which bodes well for next year, continuing that process. As we look forward to ongoing implementation of the Workforce Pell, various guidelines to get that established. I know that folks are meeting on wrapping up and implementing those guidelines as we speak. Moving forward, looking at things like WIOA and higher ed reauthorizations as part of next year. And then, some of those dynamics that we'll be looking at that will impact will be, there continues to be a diminishing House majority as the 2 parties get closer. We've had some intra-year, special elections and resignations, which just makes it a little bit more of a difficult environment when it's so close to move things in DC. But then also keeping track on all of the shifting responsibilities, as noted from the Department of Ed, as those programs are moving over to labor, HHS, various other departments. So wanting to make sure that all of those things are captured as well. And then lastly, kind of the political landscape, obviously, that will, is continuing to define DC and we'll be working into next year. The impacts of the Trump presidency, particularly the battle between the Trump administration, the Newsom administration, kind of at odds with each other, both on policy and legal, standing. We'll be moving into on the federal side of the House midterm elections. Obviously, with all of the not only Prop 50 in California, but redistricting efforts in other states, it's going to be quite interesting as each party tries to either maintain or take over the majority within the House. That will impact the ability to pass any number of bills. On the Senate side, while there is chatter that the Democrats may have an opportunity, realistically, neither party is going to have 60 votes to overcome a filibuster coming out of next year. So we'll continue to have work in this environment of polarization of the two parties. And then as we go through, we're going to be looking for the chairs and what their committee priorities are for next year. While there is this friction and difficulty working through, there are areas of commonality that we're able to see. We are seeing bills move out of the House and conversations occur in the Senate and vice versa, largely around things like workforce, job training, job development. So seizing those opportunities where they exist to get things done on a bipartisan basis. And so with that, I happy to be here, happy to answer any questions, and thank you guys.
Thank you. Trustee Dack?
So this might be out of your purview, but regardless of maybe not naming specific people, but do you think that there are better chances of our nursing pilot program being signed by a new incoming governor? I mean, there are so many policy issues to track with each candidate, but I'm just curious what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, I think this year being 2026 will be difficult to expect a different outcome with Governor Newsom, right? We've seen two vetoes largely along the same policy rationale. So unless the bill changes drastically this year, and honestly, I'm not really sure how you change it to address the governor's concerns while still maintaining the integrity of the pilot program. So to your question, I think that as new members come in, as a new governor comes in, depending upon where that lies, you may have folks that have never considered this policy. Katie Porter, Swalwell, those on a congressional level that have that type of background just haven't necessarily had to deal with this policy. That may tend to be more favorable. They may not necessarily, let me put it the other way. They'd probably be open to the conversation, and I can guarantee you there'd be a lot of advocacy going on that they should be modifying their positions in response to the workforce. You may have other candidates like Tony Thurman, who comes in with a K through 12 background that may have more of an idea of what role each segment of education may play. So I think to the broad question, yes, I think that whoever the next governor is, I would anticipate nursing will be, and not just nursing, I should probably broaden that out to all BA programs at community colleges. I think there will be continued efforts. I know that there's a lot of conversations occurring in Sacramento about reconsidering CSU review of programs, other things. So I think that once a new administration is in, that those conversations will rekindle. Obviously, it'll be have to be balanced with if any changes come with the state chancellor, because obviously that's a position that serves at the pleasure of the governor. So if we see changes there, then we'd need to probably work through both of those dynamics.
Thank you.
Thanks, Casey. Just follow up to Ryan's question on on SB 400 or the bachelor pilot. I'm wondering, I had a couple questions on it. The CSU lobbying strategy, did they essentially surrender the legislature and focus only on the governor? That's one. And then two, is it only the CSU, or is there an argument to be made, perhaps not with this governor, but the denial of launching a bachelor pilot for nursing is actually helping the for-profits? So there's two questions.
Yeah, both good questions. I would say that the CSU focused a lot of their efforts on the administration. They did the legislative steps that you would expect from opposition. They provided their letters, they commented in committee, but they weren't.
Is there anyone else in their coalition, or is it just them?
Yeah, yeah. So CSU is the kind of the band leader, if you will. They do have UCs are with them, and then the private for-profits. So that really where we saw the.
Can't we expose that? Like I mean, is it open, the for-profit support, or is it?
Yeah, no, they were generally, for the most part, they were kind of the leading opponents during the committee testimony. And those points were tried to point out about the cost effectiveness of having community colleges run those programs, the impacts. A lot of conversations this year about nursing placements, so and kind of the role that they play there, and how there might be some advantages within that process that community colleges don't have. So.
I would think with the more populist governor administration, there's opportunities with that.
Yes.
That approach.
Yeah, yeah. I think that from overall perspective, I think that continuing to hammer on affordability need, job placement, particularly with new incoming, they resonate. They every meeting I've had with with legislators, with staff, I think this year 1,400 moved through unopposed. I can't recall a single no vote in the legislature. So to the point, CSU obviously focused a lot of their time and resources on the administration. There were some new, I'll say strategies, but trying to different leverage points we tried with the administration this year to try to make it more of a national issue, a broader issue that just ultimately weren't successful. But I think that those policies or those tactics, those speaking points, those emphasis will be kind of refocused depending upon who.
Yeah, I think this is a winnable issue.
Yeah.
If we can recalibrate a little and to go after where they're vulnerable on the cost side, and they're actually hurting students by denying the pilot. My next question was, are we going to get a little more specificity on the priorities for next year? Or is that going to come out of you working with Letitia and the Ledge Committee? And when is that going to happen?
Tonight.
Yeah, you have it.
The priorities are on there?
Uh-huh.
They're on there.
Where?
Yeah, so before you, there's a draft of the handout that we
I didn't see it.
have traditionally passed out during our visits. It is a draft, but it's
right in front of
pretty
me.
detailed and
see
has
it.
been reviewed by the Chancellor's Executive Council. We would love for you all to just kind of peruse through that this evening. And then we're hoping that the legislative subcommittee can go over this document more in depth. And if you have some recommendations for changes or additions, that we can kind of formally vote, or the committee members can formally vote on that. And then the goal is to have a finalized document before we make our first Sacramento trip. And we'll bring this to DC as well.
Right, and so some of the ways in which these evolved were, one, through the subcommittee where we've been talking about this quite a bit, but also recent meetings through the league, through the ACCT, where we had pretty large delegations going to these state and national convenings of trustees. Some of these also evolved from the coffee with the board. So for example, at IVC, I know that there was a strong veterans focus. There was a strong focus on really elevating student basic needs. And so these priorities were kind of themed up. And so they're broad enough for the board to consider. And then, of course, before we go to Sacramento and Washington, D.C. in January and February, of course, we prepare the board with information so that when you meet with the elected officials, you have the information that's needed. And I think we have a large majority of the board attending both of those legislative conferences in January and February.
Trustee Prendergast?
Just want to kind of catch your thoughts a little bit on the redistricting, on how that might impact us a little bit in our area versus the big picture.
Yeah, so obviously Prop 50 right now, you have a couple of kind of the different layers, obviously the congressional, I mean, the new congressional maps. So we are seeing, you know, the stated purpose of the legislation was to elect more Democrats. So we're seeing those vulnerable, you know, Republicans that are Republican seats now in this area obviously being drawn together. I think we just had a conversation at least a couple weeks ago about Darrell Issa potentially running in Texas, right? So I mean, just conversations that would not have occurred previously. So you know, in the Sacramento area, for example, you have one Republican member, Kevin Kiley, whose district has been chopped into 5 pieces and trying to figure out where to run. So I think that, you know, you have drawn a handful of safe Republican districts, including, you know, in the Southern California area. But for the most part, really, they're just trying to kind of, I'll say, push Democrats wherever they can. You are seeing things like some of those districts that maybe, I don't want to say used to be competitive, but were more competitive, like Congressman Correa. Obviously, he had kind of built himself a nice, so a lot of his votes kind of got siphoned off. So I think you're going to have some Democrats in Orange County that have more competitive races than they're used to. So obviously nationally, Democrats are anticipating a large turnout to kind of buoy them, but I think you are going to have more closer races. Obviously, Orange County tends to be ground zero for a lot of the political campaigns, those close races, so I think that we're going to continue to see that. But ultimately, I think the goal is to elect a couple of more folks here. Why am I blanking? I think you are going to start seeing the Republicans against Republicans moving out a little bit away from Orange County, kind of into Riverside, San Bernardino, as those pieces get pulled over.
Calvert and Young Kim.
There we go.
That's who you're thinking.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. So I think as Young Kim kind of gets moved and her district gets redrawn, then, you know, naturally she's going to kind of go for what's it say for a Republican seat to get pulled out. So I think we're going to see some of those nationally. Is it going to, you know, with Texas, with some of the other states that are going on, is it going to all even out? Is it? I don't know. I think it'll be interesting, and then you get the kind of the pull up as you do see more members that are moving around to then backfill into those seats. So you'll start seeing. I don't think we have anyone here on term limits on your side, but as you move further into the county, you're starting to see that people already jockeying as, for example, Assemblymember Valencia tries to move over to the Senate, which is presumably geared up for a congressional run somewhere down. So you're starting to see some of those down, I won't say down races, but you can kind of start seeing the pattern, I guess, solved in some of those other races.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your insight and information. We appreciate it. And we really enjoyed last year the trips with your people. They were great.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing everyone again, just a month, right, out in Sacramento. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That would bring us back to oral reports.
Madam President, can I just say, who was the person who put this together? Was it Letitia? Letitia, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was very, very informative, at least for me. Thank you very much.
And it did come from input from various meetings and groups, and so, yeah, it's good. It's good. It gives us what we need for the trips as well. Okay, so oral reports, we need to do 2 minutes or less. We're all getting tired. So.
Can I make a
we'll-
suggestion?
Yes,
I'm sure
sir.
most people will ignore it, but given the, given the hour, if we could strive to be less than 1 minute,
Yeah,
okay? All right.
so I won't cut you off until 2, but if you can do 1, that would be great. Okay, let's start. 4.1, oral reports. Marcia.
I just want to concentrate on the IVC Shark Tank presentation at IVC, where the students actually created certain products like apps and things, and they marketed them like Shark Tank, and it was the IVC, and they had really mentors and people that work with the students, developing the projects and doing the presentations. And it was just incredible. And the winner, they had the judges choose the 3 top winners, and they all won prizes. The top winner won $1,000. But they also had, top leaders in industry working with these students, developing the products, developing the presentations and the marketing. And 2 of the things that I thought I would purchase one was some fitness things that seemed really excellent, and another one was something that you could use an app to tell you exactly what the lights mean on your car when they go up on the dashboard and tell you what to do about it. So I thought these opportunities for our students are just incredible, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm just talking about that one thing I attended this month. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bartlett?
Thank you, Madam President. So since our last board meeting, I've had the pleasure of attending on November 18th on the Table of Thanks event at ATEP, where our masterful culinary students served an amazing curated lunch, showing off their incredible talents and highlighted just how important and impactful our culinary program is for students and setting them up for successful professions in the future. On December 11th, I attended the Saddleback College Foundation Board meeting, where we discussed our recent gala event and how we achieved new milestones for the event and the positive impacts this will have to serve our students. Earlier today, I attended the Board Audit Subcommittee meeting, and later this week, I look forward to attending the Saddleback College President's Holiday Party. I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very happy, joyous, and safe holiday season with your family, friends, and loved ones. This year has been a really challenging one for many people, and as we enjoy the holiday season of giving, consider reaching out to help those less fortunate than ourselves, as a little kindness goes a long way. This concludes my board comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Dack?
To please Trustee Jamal and represent Irvine, Aliso Viejo, Laguna Beach, Laguna Hills, Laguna Woods, Lake Forest, and parts of the unincorporated community of Trabuco Canyon. I have no report.
Yeah, see, he did it. She said your minute's up.
Amazing.
Trustee Prendergast?
Just attended the IVC Holiday Mingle. It was a very, very nice event. President Hernandez got to save the day by not having anybody burned by the coffee pot that just decided to melt down, no pun intended. But it was a fun event. Attended the Feast of Lights on Sunday, always a great event. I was disappointed I did not see Trustee Milchiker in the choir.
Choir?
I thought that was a thing. But yeah, and then looking forward to the Saddleback Holiday Party as well this week. That's all I have.
Trustee Jamal?
All right, the nurses pinning ceremony on last Monday evening was beautiful again, inspiring. 54 graduates. I see Dr. Stern nodding. I just, every time I go to that event, there's something new that comes out of it, and it's overwhelming. I mean, I think it's one of the best things that we have going on at this district is a nurses pinning ceremony. So I was glad to attend that again. Tomorrow I depart for about 3.5 weeks to my beloved homeland of Armenia. So we're the first Christian nation. So Christmas is very important there, and a lot will be going on. So I look forward to enjoying my time there, and everyone have a restful and outstanding holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Rydell?
Many of the events that I attended have been mentioned, and I do want to say that the film about the Native Americans from IVC, I watched that through Zoom, and I was very, very impressed that someone took the time to put all of that together and that we supported it. And if we can do that again, I'd like to see more of that done. Also, the football game that we won that Saturday, what was it, November 29th? And how far did we go? Because I've been gone, I've been out of state. Did we play again in the national?
We advanced into the semifinals, but did not leave semifinals.
Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. Speaking of football, though, I want everybody on January 1st to be able to watch this game because this shirt comes from, wait, I'm not even gonna tell you. Okay, we went to the Rose Bowl in 1968, long time ago. And I couldn't go because I didn't have enough money, but I did save all my stubs. If you'd like to see them, I'll bring them out. That every home game that I went to at IU, I still have. So I'm very proud of them. I'm so proud that Fernando got the Heisman. I mean, I was besides myself. But at any rate, if you can watch it on the first, and maybe you'll see me, because whatever happens, I'm going to that game.
Sounds
Thank
fun.
you. And have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and New Year's. I have to say, there's something that I put in every one of my letters for the last 10 years. And what Christmas is all about is family or your friends. Some of us don't have family, some of us have a lot of friends, vice versa. But I think that's what's important, and I'm so glad that we have the time off to spend it with our family and friends.
Thank you.
And IU.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that, very quickly, you've heard enough from me tonight, but I only want to say one thing, and that is that I went to the Adopt a Family, and you know, sometimes words and what you say and what you see is really different. And I often say when I'm talking about community college that it's not just about the student, it's about their whole family, it's about society, it's about all kinds of things. But to see the whole family at that event was really very, very moving to me, especially the children. I thought they were just terrific, and it was really fun to see it. So that was my favorite event of the month. And I'm not going to forget this time, student Blake Leonard.
To my fellow students, it is finals week. We are almost done. And then I want to give a shout out to Colin Williams, the veterans counselor. I got to go to Camp Pendleton with him this last month, where every Thursday he does the veteran outreach for all the active duty service members and their wives and family members to represent Saddleback and let them know this is a resource. I also want to say that there have been a lot of crazy things that have happened this month, from the National Guard soldiers in Washington, D.C., to the 2 service members that were killed in Syria, and then the unfortunate events at Brown University in Australia. I just want to remind everyone, don't let violence divide us, and that there is only one true God, and He loves you. That's all.
Thank you very much. I think that our students have left probably to study for finals. That would be my guess there. So let's go to Frank Gonzalez, Saddleback Academic Senate.
Thank you. I had quite a few things to say, but for the sake of time, Trustee Jamal, I just want to say thank you, Marcia, for all your years of service and all the things I've seen you at before. And I also want to include that I am also a member of 88.5 KSBR.
Okay, thank you. College Academic Senate, Irvine Valley, Rebecca Beck.
Marcia, thank you. Thank you for all the years of service. You have been an anchor to the district, and your student-centeredness is one that not many people can emulate, and our students are lucky to have had you for 40 years to speak for them, to be a role model, and for all of us, thank you. Have a restful and restorative break to all of you. I hope it's a gentle one.
Thank you. Faculty Association, this evening, Deanna Sugar.
You got it, thank you. I'm going to continue the trend and just say on behalf of the Faculty Association how deeply grateful we are, Marcia, I can't see you because you're over there, for your 40 years of service. In talking to colleagues from Saddleback and IVC, what kept coming up was just a deep appreciation for your willingness to be everywhere at the colleges, to really see the multiple perspectives of all of the different people who are involved in the work that we do. Many faculty were appreciative of the time that you are always willing to take to hear the faculty voice. And also just the different events that you have attended, and even being a student yourself. I understand that you took Gina Goss's Spanish class and went to Spain with Carmen Mara. And so we just are so appreciative of everything that you've done for the district and so grateful for the work you continue to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Irvine Valley College Classified Senate, Ace Kugiwa.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. And of course, congratulations to Trustee Mulchiker. And I still owe you photography because you bid at Foundation Awards last March. We still need to schedule that one.
Oh,
Just a quick report from Classified Senate. I just want to give a quick shout out to all the classified professionals who have done a lot of things for students this past November. Particularly tokens of thanks, we put up together 80 care packages for students that included grocery gift cards, notes of encouragement, but also we did restock the spot in collaboration with College Core and Basic Needs and brought together almost around 210 essential items to support students. Thank you.
thank you. Saddleback College Classified Senate, Violetta Zuhare.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Congratulations, Marcia. Thank you. We always enjoy seeing you at all our events. It's always a great time. Good evening, Chancellors Barnes and Board of Trustee members. My name is V. Zachary, and today I'm here on behalf of Georgina Martinez for Classified Senate. I will go as fast as I can. At the recent Classified Senate General Meeting, we had the honor of hosting Chancellor Barnes for a chat asking what qualities Classified would like to see in the next president. Always a pleasure. We look forward to bringing Chancellor Barnes back to meet with the classified professionals next semester. Caring Campus also hosted their last event of the semester, a guided tour of ATAS building and composing cards recognizing our colleagues for all their hard work. This event promoted three of our Caring Campus behavior commitments, the 10-foot rule, cross-department awareness, and warm referrals. We look forward to hosting more events in the upcoming semester. Classified Senate officially moved their general meetings to once a month to better align with IVC's schedule and to give Classified the needed time to adjust to the new banner system. As you know, that this has been a trying transition, and we would like to publicly thank all the classified professionals in our admissions and records for their tireless efforts in helping students register, including Seppi Shiraz, Griselda Heredia, Andrea Metcalf, Donna Powell, Dustin Tran, Emily Garcia, Kim Rizvani, Brian Flores, Karen Molina Gallardo, Ariana Winston, Erica Semenik, Dylan Curiel, Hidayah Niazi, Maitrong, Evelia Ramirez, Julia Cho, and Vanessa Miramontes. Thank you, Classified and board members, for your dedication.
Thank you. California School Employees Association, Desiree Ortiz.
Thank you so much. I will try to go quick too, but I probably will use 2 minutes. Marcia, thank you for leading not only with your heart, giving us your heart, and showing us your heart. I'm truly honored to be able to lead with you, and thank you for all you do. As we come to the end of the year and hopefully find time to be with our loved ones, I want to thank you for the care and support you have shown our classified professionals throughout the year. I especially want to thank you for the 2 additional days you have given them in recognition of all they have gone through with this banner transition. Our classified professionals have always shown up for our students, for each other, for our campuses, and our district. They demonstrate their care and commitment in everything they do, and this transition to banner has been particularly a challenging one. Thank you for hearing them, seeing them, and honoring their work. By giving them this time to unwind and truly enjoy a full 2 weeks, you are showing them that their well-being matters. I want to thank each of you in this room for the support and care you show our classified professionals as we have seen in the recent events. Love and compassion on our campuses and in our district are needed now more than ever, and I'm grateful to all of you for embodying that. Happy holidays, and may you and your loved ones be happy, healthy, and safe in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This evening, we welcome someone from the Police Officers Association, Lance Christensen.
Yes, thank you on behalf of the POA. There we go. Okay, thank you on behalf of the POA. We'd just like to thank the trustee members, Trustee Inman, trustee members, Chancellor Barnes, Ivy Saddleback, President Stern. We want to extend our gratitude. This thing keeps cutting out. There we go. We want to extend our sincere gratitude to Vice Chancellor Cindy Viscachill and also Karen Dubert, Human Resources. These folks pick up the phone in the middle of the night for us. You know, it really means a lot. Their teamwork and their vital support with our contract and just our routine operational developments. We recognize the challenges that you've navigated for us, especially with the banner system transition. And we deeply appreciate your continued commitment and compassion for the students and it's our compassionate, student-centered campus for your work ensuring our students receive essential support, including the most recent transportation issues, which we're working through, with care and dignity. Thank you for your patience, your partnership, your professionalism. And just a little safety tip, you know, as we head into winter break, we wish you guys joy and rest and safe travels. And just stay vigilant in large crowds. You know, happy holidays.
Thank you so much. Okay, that concludes oral reports. Number 5 is public hearings, and there are none. Number 6, resolutions, we already did. Number 7, Board of Trustees and the Chancellor, the CCCT Board election. Do you have something on that?
No, so what this is, it's the California Community College Trustee Board election. So basically, nominations are now open. Should our board wish to nominate anyone on our board to run for the CCCT board. One thing to note is that for 2026, there are 9 seats up for reelection, and which includes 8 incumbents. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough.
Right.
Chancellor, are you finished?
Yes.
So, Madam President?
Yes, sir.
Did we nominate someone last year?
I don't think so.
No, we did not?
No,
Anyone like to
we
do it?
didn't, last year we did not, no,
I thought we did. Okay.
not last
Yeah,
year.
we've not had a good,
Marcia and I gave up.
we haven't had
I
a
gave up.
successful
I threw
track
the-
record.
Threw the
No.
towel in.
I thought you ran Carolyn.
I tried it twice,
Yeah.
and I didn't get it either.
Our district has never had a person on the CCCT board, but this year's gonna be tough with only one opening. So,
Yeah.
You know,
So I guess it's a pass?
I think
does
it's a
anybody like to
pass.
try? I don't wanna try it.
Unless someone would like to try it. With all that negativity, I'm sure.
Sorry.
We're encouraging.
It'd be good to have someone on
Perhaps
the board
next
at
year.
some point. It would be good.
Yeah, perhaps next year.
Not me or TJ.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so we've done 8. The next, number 9, is the consent calendar. Are there any pulls on the consent calendar? If not, we will move right along. Then let's vote on,
So moved.
okay, it's been moved by
Second.
Trustee Jamal and seconded by Trustee Jack. That's close, rhymes. Trustee Jack, let's vote. The motion carries 7-0 with student trustee advisory vote also a yes. We are now to number 10, business services. Vice Chancellor Dr. Anne Marie Gable. We will be working with her. Number 10.1, declaring the license for the radio broadcasting equipment, towers, et cetera. I think you've all read it. Is there a motion? You need a motion.
I'll move the item.
Okay, Trustee Dack, is there a second? Okay, without a second, it would die. Is that fine with you all? Okay, no second.
But I think it's 10.1, it's the KSBR.
10.1.
I would advocate for a second,
I
just so
think
that we
we
can
have
have
to have a
discussion
second. Yeah,
of
just
the
for
item.
discussion. I'll second it.
Okay, it has been moved by Trustee Dack and seconded by Trustee Prendergast, is that right? Okay, as you know, we had comments, et cetera. So who would like to start the discussion?
Well, I mean, not necessarily discussion, but more question.
Yes.
I'd like to get more info. I mean, there's what we read, and then there's what we've heard, and there seems to be a disconnect between what we're understanding about this, and I really want to try and get a full picture.
Are we able to hear from Dr. Stern with regard to more background on this, and then perhaps like discussions at the college level?
Sure. So I'll ask, while I'm starting this, I'll ask Vice President Bo Kumamoto to head toward the podium to discuss programming issues, because I think if there's a discrepancy between what you've seen from us and what you heard tonight, there might be some confusion about what programming is. So first of all, there is no radio program. We don't offer any credentials in radio. We have a CTVR AS degree that allows radio specialization. 3 students took that radio specialization in the last year of record. It requires a class that currently enrolls 8 to 10 students per term and is in jeopardy, but has nothing to do with the sale of the signal, the surplusing of the signal. Indeed, what we continue to do without the KSBR signal is transmit on a URL-based, on a digital-based radio station, so that all of the content that we still teach to some degree can still be done and practiced and transmitted through the digital station, not KSBR, which would be surplused as part of this agreement potentially with CSUN. On the fiscal side, the math is very straightforward. We have ongoing aggregate liability for the portion of the expenses related to keeping the station going. Mostly that sits at CSUN. We still have to do our own maintenance of the FCC contract and compliance, which requires legal fees as well as some staffing, as you heard tonight. The total liability so far that's accrued because of the ongoing losses of this radio station currently run by CSUN and radio stations in general is in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $800,000 per year, of which we would be responsible for 25% in theory. So we're looking at total liability, total exposure of potentially $1.8 million plus legal fees. We are very pleased to bring you a possible agreement that reduces the liability and reduces the payout significantly from that to the value of the station, which I'll come to in a moment, plus an additional few $100,000 toward that liability exposure that is already accrued. The value of the station was previously estimated at $1.5 million by a valuation that was done a couple of years ago. When the stations went up for sale, that didn't turn out to be true. Whether the valuation was errant or whether the market fell more precipitously than they anticipated, I'm not sure, but the only offer that was garnered valued our station at the neighborhood of $350,000. So we are looking at a current value of around $300,000 and liability of up to $1.8 million. So getting out for a total value of about $250,000 payout and a $300,000 value of the station, about $600,000 total, we think is a very good agreement, potentially, so that the college will not continue accrue liability for programming that has never existed as a formal program at this college. Most of what was said tonight in public record concerned programming and students taking classes, and we heard about a student actually getting a job in radio in history, and I will therefore ask Vice President Bo Kumamoto to speak to the programming issues and Tram specifically what we've been doing and what we will continue to do and how the surplusing of the station signal might or might not change that.
So currently, our radio program works to provide some practice for students to do broadcasting. That is continuing through our OC Rock station with this change. We already do some of that now. The programming that we actually have students connected to that is with KSBR is very limited. They do provide some public service announcement broadcasting, and the station itself, the HD2 station, just loops jazz music. So there is no actual programming participation from the students on that particular jazz music station. We have been working with the department over the last, since the partnership has begun, identifying ways for our students to continue participation. The original contract was meant to have our students working at the CSUN main station. That just never came to fruition. And so what we're looking at now is really just supporting the students through our OC Rock station. They're still getting the practice. It actually allows for us to have a lot more flexibility with the programming because we don't have to have it 24/7. We're able to provide the students with different types of programming based on their interest on the online station because there isn't the FCC compliance requirements as well. The cost for doing the online station is $2,000 a year, and we believe that allows them to do the same level of practice.
Trustee Milchiker?
Do we own the OC Rock station, the online station? Is that our?
We pay a subscription cost for the station online. It's $2,000 a year.
It's akin to a website.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Oh, yes. Let's
Go
take
Ryan.
Dak first.
I'll give it to Trustee
ahead.
Jamal first. You had your hand up first.
That's right. So I think some of this is an emotional issue. I used to listen to KSBR. I think the programming side, that wasn't a hopeful report. I know in the past on the operational side that we used to have very successful, very well-attended KSBR birthday bashes in my home city of Mission Viejo, attended by, I think a few thousand people. And it was a fundraiser. So what happened to that?
So under the agreement that was made in 2017, major responsibility for broadcast from the partnership completely flipped to CSUN. When I came on board in 2019, we were looking at a deficit, and at the time, we were producing some content and maybe doing some fundraising. Trustee Jamal, I don't remember, but we laid off the 2 full-time employees that were producing about a half hour of content per day for a news program. So we have not produced enough content to be able to go out and fundraise for anything for quite some time. As for CSUN itself, it has certainly tried fundraising. It is a public station, and it does do some fundraising. There are members, but it has come nowhere close to the fundraising it needs. When I spoke of an operating deficit of $600,000 to $800,000 per year, I mean net of the revenue it's able to raise. Those are the ongoing budget deficits that it's running. So fundraising in public radio, even for very big NPR stations, for instance, has really dwindled and is really struggling. LAist, the station owned by PCC, is currently running a $4 to $5 million deficit per year and is dipping into its reserves each year to stay alive. So we do not have that kind of problem yet, but the FCC compliance that Vice President Vo Kumamoto referred to would require us, if we do not have agreement on this separation agreement and surplusing, to maintain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week programming under the FCC, which we are incapable of doing. So we would ultimately run the risk of losing the FCC license that we're currently evaluating in this exchange to CSUN.
Did we have, I remember this issue came up 2 or 3 years ago. Did we have a task force that convened to consider ideas for programs, programmatic options for the station? I think the combination with CSUN, frankly, was inherently doomed to fail. I didn't see it as being a successful joint venture. And I think at the time when this came up before the board, a lot of us expressed skepticism that we thought it would work. And ultimately, unfortunately, it didn't. What are some of the ideas programmatically that were discussed in terms of, content that could possibly sustain make it profitable?
CSUN in the partnership has gone through at least 3 program changes in the 7 years that I've been here. None of them has been any more successful than the one before it, as I recall. If we were to take our station back at this point and pay the $1 million penalty and any accrued liability that would require, we would have to find programming for 24 hours a day, which, as I've mentioned before, we're incapable of doing. So I think the idea of a change in format would be up to CSUN and the partnership, and they've kind of exhausted their formats at this point. The last I remember, I believe, was the California Sound, and I don't know where it's gone since then. But the reasons for them keeping the station may not have to do with potential for success down the road. They too are struggling with an emotional issue on their campus and continue to employ a large number of people at that station that are protected by labor agreements.
Yeah, I'd love to turn it over to my fellow trustees, but I think the big question is there are skills that our students can definitely benefit from having a campus radio station and getting that experience of performing and delivering on air. So I think to the extent that we ensure that those opportunities still exist here, that's critical.
I couldn't agree more. I think anything that teaches skills is important, Trustee Jamal. What we need to do is look at where we're putting our resources and make sure under your supervision that the allocations are efficient and give good return on investment. Today in your consent agenda, you approved a new gaming program for Saddleback College in digital gaming and animation and design. That program leads to high demand jobs, and it allows us, with resources saved in this potential resolution of a long-standing partnership, to invest in jobs in the future for our students and in ways and teach them skills that they can actually turn into a job. Our very difficult job together is to decide where those future jobs are and where the skills are and how to teach them most efficiently, but we cannot continue to maintain all courses, all programs, when there is no workforce need for them.
Prendergast, did you want?
Yeah, I have a lot on this, unfortunately. So, just trying to make sure I get this clear. Right now, the only thing happening on HD2 is jazz looping 24/7. There are no DJs, there's no other type of music being played, it's just
Correct.
on a loop.
Correct.
So there's not even a mechanism that listeners could say, hey, wait, what's going on? Can we keep this? And whatever. Or some benefactor jumps in and says, I love jazz music on loop 24/7 and I want to pay you guys $1 million. Like, I'm really kind of torn on it because I know we've given the directive to start looking at programs that are not sustainable to save money and to keep things efficient. And we appreciate the work and effort that's been done on that behalf. I also know that, radio as an entity is starting to fade because everyone just listens to Spotify or their Apple Music or Google Play or whatever. So I am glad to hear that we have a mechanism for students to still get the experience of kind of going into that transition by broadcasting through website and through the internet versus the radio. I'm just kind of curious about something you just said about our original agreement saying that we were supposed to have our students have the ability to work on air with CSUN, and yet that never happened. Is that a breach of contract on their end? Or is that just our kids just didn't want to drive to Northridge?
Yeah, I think the challenge was the distance, and we had attempted to have some level of remote programming. It just didn't come to fruition. One, because we had COVID in the middle of it, and then now it's been such separation that we've been building our programming differently. And I think to put you all at ease, part of our goal is to look at the trends of just broadcasting and journalism altogether, and talk about the CTVR program as a whole. We do believe that our program is very strong, and even though it's just a radio specialization, that along with that specialization, our students are getting exposure to broadcasting and journalism and other means of communications through video and voice. So we believe that the program itself is much more comprehensive, is preparing students for multiple modalities of expressing themselves through broadcasting. So I believe it's not pinning them to just one area with our current program structure. Our studios are phenomenal. The students are still going to have access to that. Our faculty are great in utilizing our facilities and being able to help our students program. So they'll still have access to all of that. I think the challenge for us as we move in this new direction is if we look at opportunities beyond streaming, what else can we connect to? I know that we've looked at other maybe smaller entities around us in the community that our students would then be able to do actual internships and work outside of us. And I think that would be actually providing them with additional opportunities beyond what we have already. So I actually do feel that our current programming with the broad approach of cinema, television, and radio helps them to actually prepare in several modalities to move forward, not just radio.
So I guess then my next concern, based on the public comments, is are those students are they misunderstanding what's going to happen to them? And are their professors and this idea that they only found out this morning? I'm just kind of trying to play through the comments versus, again, what we're reading. And are they just not understanding what's really happening, or did they miss the memo? Like, I'm just trying to get this disconnect.
There is definitely a gap between what you are hearing and what they have heard. It is definitely something that I will be going back with our Dean Farthing to discuss with the area. We have been working with the department on looking at providing exposure to students through our streaming platform because that is the future. So there is definitely a gap that we will need to address. I don't know to what extent the students were informed outside of what they saw on the board agenda.
I do want to clarify, some of them seem to have been in the radio class or were previously in the radio class. This does not affect the radio class. The radio class is simply going to use OC Rock. It will not use the HD2 station. We would not have that cell signal. We would not have that signal available. So the class itself may have issues because of under-enrollment, but this has nothing to do with that.
Right. And the class actually has been using OC Rock too. It's not that that's new to them.
Okay. So there's a disconnect between what they're understanding this item to mean versus the reality of what it means.
Or things may not have been explained to them in a way that we would agree with.
And so a vote yes on this by us, that will be addressed?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
That's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Because I am concerned. And then I'm not really 100% clear on what are we talking about, like, we have physical towers here that are going to get taken down and sent off to Northridge, or are we just purely just cutting off the license and those structures are going to sit there until someone decides they want to use them again?
The latter.
The latter. Okay. All right. That's
Our
all I have.
towers are actually also leased, and so I think part of this would be they would have access to take over.
Does that mean CSUN, like the H2 goes away and it just becomes HD1 and we'll start hearing CSUN farther down?
Well, you certainly wouldn't hear it any further down than you hear it now because the partnership
Already broadened it.
gave them
Yeah,
our signal.
Got it. All right.
Did you have more? Mr. Dack?
Okay, I've got a couple questions here. I'll just first share that one of my first experiences on Saddleback's campus was visiting the KSBR studio. So it is, I think I was in Cub Scouts, probably like 10 years old, something like that. So, and I did listen to it when I was a 10-year-old, just listen to jazz. I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. But, you know, that had kind of, I wouldn't say it's a big part of my life, but it did make me interested in radio to the point where when I was at UCI, I was a DJ at KUCI. And I guess some of my questions, and again, it's not your job to know what KUCI's model is, but if you do have any insight on this, I would love to hear, like, how is what KSBR does and what Saddleback's role in that is different from KUCI? Because my understanding at KUCI is they also need to maintain programming 24 hours a day, but they have a very extensive sort of model for that. If you're a student, you don't have to pay a fee, and you can get blocks of 30 minutes if it's public affairs, which is needed for their FCC license, or you could do any sort of genre of music you want to do for a 2-hour block. And I was lucky enough to get the 4 a.m. block on Friday mornings once a week. So I'm just curious, is that something that if we're having trouble getting DJs or programming where we could open it up to the wider community where, hey, you want to spend $100, $200, whatever dollars per semester and have your own radio show? I'm trying to figure out what this is, and I'm apologize, I'm not an FCC licensing expert.
Nor am I. However, I don't know enough about the UCI radio station. What I do know a bit about is the CSUN radio station, and it's losing $600,000 to $800,000 net per year in trying to operate it to actually do programming for students. The other thing I know a little bit about is the intersection between workforce demand and student enrollment. Computer science is currently down at our college, and I'm guessing IVC, by over 20%. That's happened because just in the last year, the entry jobs in software development and early coding have almost disappeared. So very quickly, we're seeing a fall in student demand in response to the fall in workforce demand. When we look at the students currently taking the radio class and doing the radio specialization, it's a handful. And I would suggest to you, Trustee Dack, that may be because the workforce demand for jobs in radio is not good, and it would be highly difficult for us to run a station and program it 24 hours a day, even if it was very low cost for students, because I don't think there are enough students who want to do it anymore, simply because the workforce demand is not high enough. And I very much appreciate that both you and Trustee Jamal have raised a side question, which is what are the skills that could be gleaned from that that might be attractive to students? But I would suggest to you that the skills can be earned in other ways, through speech and communication classes, through debate and forensics, through podcasting, through our social media and entrepreneurship classes, in lots of ways outside of radio. Radio has been a CTE program for us, and CTE programs, well, to the extent that there's programming, not a program, CTE programs require workforce demand. And we simply do not have workforce demand in radio, and the future looks ever more bleak. Revenues in radio are falling for local stations by about 3% per year and are not projected to plateau anytime in the near future.
So to you, and sorry to just interject, to you and Tram in a small way, I'm happy to discuss with you some experiential opportunities. I'm involved in producing a podcast, involved in lots of social media work, and could definitely consider using some Saddleback student talent in these efforts. So we can talk offline about that.
Indeed, and we have the labs for it, and we have student interest in podcasting for sure.
Well, I guess one of my other follow-up questions is, you know, it is, well, let me ask, is this something that needs action tonight? Is this something, or is this needs to be done by the end of the year, or is this something that, because to be quite honest, I know there's a lot of different pull and push factors, but we are a community college district, and I mean, opening up potentially KSBR studios to the community at large. Would you like to do a public affairs show? Would you like to do your own stuff? I don't know what the specifics are, but I would at least like to have the opportunity to explore what KUCI does and if that could be something we could do. But it kind of is dependent on whether this needs action tonight or could be something in the future.
I appreciate that. Priya Jerome has stepped up to the podium at my request because she's been involved in negotiations with this for quite some time and understands some of the factors that would come into play if we were to delay a decision. Priya.
Good evening, trustees. So at this stage, our liability with CSUN is currently, has stopped accruing as of December 31st, 2024. And there is a cost that, you know, every time they're programming and without settling this donation or this agreement, we will have to start factoring incurring the cost as of 2025 as well. So there is a push to get this done so that we can address the $800,000 deficit that we have, in addition to the $1 million that we would have to owe. And if we don't terminate, this matter will pose a problem from the perspective of CSUN because they are actively pushing to have this addressed.
And so this needs to be done before the end of the calendar year, then, it sounds like.
It is a push to have this done before the end of the calendar year, yes.
Okay. I guess I have a follow-up question. How long has this kind of been in the process? I don't know, because again, I kind of wish we had a little more time to digest this, right? We got the agenda on Thursday. It's like, oh, well, we need to do this right now. And there's a lot of people up here that have experience with KSBR and being part of the community. And I'm just curious, how long has this kind of been in the revolver, I guess?
The program discussion on the partnership, Tram can address that, but I've been involved with discussing it's been more than 2 years since we talked about possibly looking at opportunities and how we can dissolve the partnership, so to say, right? So we've looked at multiple different avenues, and after trying everything out and trying to figure out the market conditions and everything, this came to be the best option between the two parties with donating and settling the deficit that we've accrued.
I just do want to mention, because it's been said a couple times, I think it was in my very first maybe 6 months, the matter had come up, and I think Trustee Jamal, you just talked about it, and the board was provided with an update at that time. Frankly, though, I think what's being said is that I think there was kind of a lull, kind of maybe some silence. It seems to me that there's a disconnect, and I think there's already an acknowledgement tonight that there's a disconnect between what's being discussed and voted upon tonight and what the perception and reality is at the ground level, at the college level. So it sounds like the administrative team here is committing to making sure that you're going back to the college to have the dialogue and, you know, kind of clarifying the way forward. So it sounds like from a programmatic standpoint, maybe there was some miscommunication, misunderstanding from the folks that were here and speaking during public comment. So it seems like there's that commitment to do that.
There is, Chancellor Barnes, but may I clarify, there has been communication at every step with the Dean of AMPT and his faculty about what's happening with the station. That means I'm unable to explain why students have a factual scenario that may not fit with what you're hearing. But we have had discussions at the college level with all who would be impacted by this decision, recalling that the impact on the class is actually minimal or none. So we would not have had any discussion with the students. And there is one adjunct who you met tonight who is teaching that class. But yes, we would make sure that any misunderstanding has been corrected and that students in particular know what is happening. I also want to say one more thing in response to Trustee Dack's question about if there been something in the revolver for a while that's just making its way to you now. This negotiation in the last stage has probably been going on for close to a year. And the offer that we're bringing to you for your consideration tonight is one of the first offers that we made. But as the valuation of the stations go down further and further, CSUN made a decision to today or a few weeks ago accept the offer that it previously rejected. One of the concerns we have about delays is that the value of the stations continue to drop. Radio is not something you would want to invest in at this point. And one of the dangers is that the value of the asset that we are trying to surplus may be declining with each new month.
Okay.
Well, I have actually one more question. So the streaming station, it's OC Rock, correct?
Correct.
Is that only limited to students that are enrolled in a class if they were to DJ? I'm just
Right
curious.
now it is.
Okay. And what does that programming look like? I mean, I think we've mentioned like what, 10 to 16 students at all? So
It's a very flexible programming that they're able to provide production for and then play on air or live.
okay. Well, I would love to have a conversation offline about maybe thoughts on expanding that to the community in some form. Because I don't know, again, my experience at KUCI was so fantastic. And I didn't have any formal radio experience. I think I took maybe an hour course on how to run the levels and how to do it. And so it was great for me. I was never part of a radiology or radio course. So it's something that I would love to discuss.
We're happy to have that conversation. We just don't think that an FCC-regulated radio signal is necessary to have that conversation.
For the online one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to call on Trustee Bartlett, but I do want to remind you, we've moved around a lot. We still have 11 more items. So we need to come to a conclusion as we can. But
And that's why I wanted to speak. I appreciate everyone's comments. I do have one question. You mentioned that some of our equipment is actually leased.
The towers.
Okay, but are we donating? We're not donating the towers then, because it's a little bit confusing here, where it says the over-air radio broadcasting equipment and towers as surplus property approves the donation agreement. Are we donating leased equipment? Or?
No, we own the equipment. We are donating all of the equipment. What we are doing is we have a lease where those towers are located. So there's 3 different leases that we have, that we are paying folks to have our equipment on their property.
Okay, that's
and
where.
So what we're doing is we're donating the equipment that's on that property, and then we are also going to be assigning the leases that we have to CSUN.
Okay, that makes sense, because in reading this, it was not clear with regard to the towers and the leased equipment. And I know times are changing and we have to keep up. If you've got 8 to 10 students that are signing up for a class, even if we have opened it up to the public where they can come and take a half an hour, we're not gonna make up that $800,000 deficit that we've got. It's too large. And I think I hired one of your people that you let go a while back, Dawn Camber. She worked at KSBR, and when
You
she
did
was
the
like-
news.
Yes, and when she was let go, she applied, and I hired her in my supervisory board office. She was the communications outreach person for a while, and very, very good at that.
We're glad she landed.
So, but I understand programs and times change, and I think we need to move forward. We've got an opportunity here with CSUN that, we need to take advantage of, because you're right, everything is depreciating. Liability could be increasing. We're not gonna make up the revenue deficit that we have, and we've got to make some tough decisions, so I think we need to move on this.
Any other discussion? All right, I'm going to call for a vote. Oh, we have one? Yep. Trustee Riddell?
Is it possible, at all possible? Is it at all possible if CSUN could give an extension? I mean, it has to be, I think the problem here is tonight is that we have, how many days till 6 days till school closes? And I think, and I also think the problem is, what I heard from the students is that it was the way it was presented to them. And they say they just found out about it 5 hours ago. And then you made a comment, it's possible how it was presented. So we don't know that end either. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. So I feel tight about making this decision, just as Trustee Dax said. I mean, we just found out about this ourselves. Yes, it's a lot of money that we're talking about, but I'm also thinking we're a community college. We always, we spend a lot of money on our students. Is it possible that they'll give an extension?
Maybe Priya would speak from her knowledge of the negotiations, but I do want to address your earlier point about the student testimony. The class that they are in or were in their past continues to run. It is not affected by the decision you make tonight. We simply would be using a different platform, and one, as you heard from Vice President Vo Kumamoto, they already use in the class. So I don't know where they got the impression that the course was in jeopardy, unless it's because of low enrollment, which is a completely separate issue than the platform they use to stream their content. Priya, could you speak to the risks and potential for getting an extension on the negotiation?
From what our legal counsel has suggested, the way the conversation and negotiations is going is with their legal counsel. There's a lot of push to get this resolved quickly because, as I said, we haven't, the capped, I mean, we haven't accrued any expenses and the program is at like a standstill so far. There will be, it pretty much reopens the negotiations of this contract if we don't get this approved. The $285,000 settlement is in calculation of all the accrued expenses we have. And if we don't settle today, we may land up having to reopen what the cost for this year's accrual would be, and may have to pay a lot more than the $875,000 that we currently accrued.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thinking the same thing. Let's move on then and go ahead and vote, please. The motion carried 6-0 with 2 people abstaining. And the student trustee.
6-0 with 2 abstaining and a student trustee vote.
6, that's 8.
6 yeses,
6
1
and 2.
abstaining.
But it says 2.
Oh, I see, you're including the student trustee.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. 10.2, SOC award of bid number 13135-2025 for Saddleback College baseball scoreboard. Do we have a motion and a second?
Second?
It has been moved by Trustee Milchiker and seconded by Trustee Bartlett. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
Can't wait to see it.
Let's vote, please. The motion carries on a 7-0 plus the student trustee. Thank you. Number 10.3, award of bid for the Saddleback College Health Science Building air handling unit replacement, et cetera.
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, was that Trustee Jamal and Trustee Milchiker? Okay. Discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Mine keeps.
The motion carries on a 7-0 vote, with student trustee also voting yes. Number 10.4, Saddleback College at ATEP project, change order number 2 for Swinnerton Builders, 10 point.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Milchiker and seconded by student trustee. Discussion? Let's vote, please. The motion carries 7-0 plus Trustee Leonard. Thank you. Number 10.5, construction management services for district-wide capital construction projects, et cetera. Number 10.5, discussion.
Second.
It has been moved by trustee Milchiker and seconded by trustee Bartlett. Is there?
Just a quick clarification. This is, in essence, they're going to be our district-wide project manager for all capital projects. Is that their role? And who do they report to?
So this particular change order is to put folks at Saddleback College, and so they would primarily be reporting to Rod Garcia, the Vice President of Administrative Services, but they would also, Manhani Ephraim, our Executive Director, oversees the entire contract. The need for this is so that Saddleback can continue with a lot of their smaller projects that are not overseen by district services, that they do themselves. And so this is with the loss of Saddleback's Senior Director of Facilities, who's retiring this week, they are trying to backfill some of the staff, the management staff that they have to perform a lot of the construction management and field engineer services that they need for their smaller projects.
This seems like a big contract.
It's a 5-year contract, but it's 3 individuals. And they are specifically located at Saddleback for Saddleback projects.
Are there any other questions? Trustee Bartlett?
Yeah, I thought it was a high dollar amount as well until I looked at the exhibit. It's a not to exceed figure.
Correct.
So they're doing some estimates here, and I'm sure that our staff will watch them very closely so that we don't hit that top end of the limit. But they just bill as they go, and we watch, exactly what they're doing. So it's just the high-end estimate of services.
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Let's vote, please. The motion carries 7-0 plus trustee Leonard. 10.6, award of master information technology consultant services agreement for 13 technology solutions. 10.6, discussion.
Second.
It has been moved by trustee Milchiker and seconded by trustee Bartlett. Is there discussion? If not, let's vote, please. Okay. Motion carries 7-0 plus trustee Leonard. 10.7, award of professional service agreements for work orders for marketing consultant services, 25th hour communications. 10.7, discussion. It's been moved by trustee Milchiker and seconded by trustee Rydell. Is there discussion? Okay, vote please. The motion carries 7-0 plus student trustee Leonard. Okay, area number 11, human resources, Dr. Viscachill.
Yes, 11.1 is the 2025, 26, and 26, 27 salary schedules for the chancellor are before you for vote.
Motion, please.
Move the item.
Okay,
Second.
Trustee Bartlett moved and trustee Dax seconded. There were several, but I'll take those names. Discussion? Vote, please.
The readout is next, in the next item.
The vote, the motion carries on 7-0 vote. Number 11.2.
Okay, here goes the readout. Trustee Prendergast? First position is Chancellor, Dr. Juliana Barnes. Contract dates July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2029. Range 1, step 1. Annual salary $431,172. 2, Dean of Liberal Arts, Dr. Brooke Bowie. Contract dates July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 2028.
11.2.
Range 22, step 9, $299,532 is the annual salary. Next position is Dean of Kinesiology Athletics and Director of Athletics, Mr. Daniel Kloss. Contract dates June 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029. 22 and 9 are the range and step, annual salary $299,532. Director Disabled Student Programs and Services, Miss Laura Chakowski, dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2028. Range 17, Step 5, annual salary $192,540. Position Director of Adult Education, it's a categorical position. Employee name, Sue Donaldson. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2028. Range 17, Step 8, annual salary $222,864. Director, Disabled Student Services and Programs, Miss Maria Ewell. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2028. Range 17, Step 9, annual salary $239,012. Position Dean Counseling Services, Dr. Angel Hernandez. Contract dates June 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2028. Range 22, Step 8, annual salary $285,264. Position Irvine Valley College President, Dr. John Hernandez. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029. Range 27, Step 9, annual salary $390,192. Dean Economic and Workforce Advancement, Mr. John Jaramillo. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029. Range 22, Step 9, annual salary $299,532. Dr. Martha McDonald, Vice President of Student Services. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029. Range 25, Step 9, annual salary $350,268. Vice President Instruction, Dr. Edmund Rick Miranda. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029. Range 25, Step 9, annual salary $350,268. Position Dean, Science, Technology, Engineering, Math, Mr. Art Nita. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2028. Range 22, Step 9, annual salary $299,532. Position Assistant Dean, Division Director, Emeritus Institute, Dr. Dan Priedel. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029. Range 20, Step 9, annual salary $269,820. Position Dean Counseling Services, Dr. Penelope Scaff. Contract dates June 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2029. Range 22, Step 9, annual salary $299,532. And Director Health and Wellness Center, Ms. Ruby Villa Vicencio. Contract dates July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2028. Range 18, Step 8, annual salary $233,676. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Move the item.
It's been moved by Trustee Bartlett, seconded by Trustee Milchiker. Is there discussion?
That was a lot of names.
Read fast. Vote, please. The motion carries 7-0. 11.3, classified personnel actions.
No changes.
No changes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the move.
I moved it.
It's moved by Trustee Jamal and seconded by Trustee Milchiker. Discussion? Let's vote, please. The motion carries 7-0. 11.4, Police Officers Association, tentative agreement, Article 6.
Might be the first time POA is in the room to have you approve something. So I want to thank POA for this one, and the board can vote.
I'm gonna move this item.
It has been moved by Trustee Dack and seconded by Trustee Prendergast. Discussion? Thank you for being here. Let's vote, please. The motion carries 7-0. 11.5, California School Employees Association, tentative agreement. A motion, please.
I'm gonna move the item.
Second?
It has been moved by Trustee Dack, seconded by Trustee Bartlett. Discussion? Let's vote, please. The motion carries 7-0. Number 12, Educational and Technology Services, Vice Chancellor Dr. Chris McDonald.
So moved.
There's nothing there.
We didn't do,
That's just
sorry.
information items. 13.1, staff response to public comment. 13.2, facilities plan status report. 13.3, monthly financial status report. 13.4, Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College speakers. Let's go to 14, please. And our reports. Let's start with Chancellor Barnes.
Grateful, thankful, hopeful. Happy holidays, everyone.
That's it? That was really concise. Yay, that's fabulous, excellent report.
Didn't list all the cities the college district has.
27
All
of
of
them or
them.
something. Okay, by IBC President, Dr. Hernandez.
No report. Happy holidays.
Saddleback President, Dr. Stern.
Oh, I'm going to ruin it. From the great people of Laguna Niguel and Los Angeles now. I do feel compelled to say something. Thank you, Student Trustee Leonard, for speaking of the 3 incidents of violence that have occurred in the last month, including the incident at Brown University in Rhode Island on Saturday. But we would be remiss if leaving the night without also mentioning the 15 innocent people killed at Bondi Beach in Australia this weekend from what appears now to be ISIS-connected terrorists with strong anti-Semitic feelings. So my hope for 2026 is that we meet an end to hate and violence. But to do that, I think we have to get back to and role model from our respective seats an embrace of diversity, regardless of race, how many gods people pray to, if they pray at all, gender, or who they love. So we say happy holidays not because it's woke. We say happy holidays because it's inclusive and because it doesn't preach a homogeneity that none of us want for our future. So from me, happy holidays and happy New Year.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor Dr. McDonald.
No report.
Okay, Vice Chancellor Dr. Viscachill.
Just to thank you to Desiree Ortiz for CSEA for the negotiation that we just recently did that you approved tonight. And Lance Christensen is the VP of POA, so I want to thank him for his efforts as well.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor of Business, Dr. Gable.
No report.
And that gives us the possibility of adjournment. If there are no objections,
Possibility.
the meeting is adjourned. Boom.